Model Making Guru is sponsored by eModels.co.uk. Make something awesome. Hello, how the devil are you, sir, madam? Hello, hey everyone. I don't know why I started like that. Hey everyone, it's Foxx from eModels.co.uk, your one-stop shop for all your model making needs. How are you all? I hope you are all well. I'm all right. If anybody who follows me on the social medias and other places will know, I've been struggling with a funky tooth all week and major tooth pain, and I'm on painkillers and everything's fantastic and brightly coloured because I'm on painkillers. I'm going to the dentist tomorrow to have things pulled out, but I'm going to see how we do today, because obviously with the hurty face, I've not been able to do much this week other than sit and crack on with this quietly whilst just self-pitying myself with the pain. So yes, I've got the painkillers on. Everything's fantastic. I can smell, particles. I can smell molecules. I can hear molecules. So we shall see how it goes. We'll see how long I can last for. Hopefully it should be okay. Welcome. If you've not seen one of these before, I am building for this channel, for eModels.co.uk, I'm building the Bandai Perfect Grade Millennium Falcon kit. And I've been going through parts of the build and live streaming it. And at this point, I've got most of the hull done. Let me show you. Let me show you my Pokemans. Let me show you them. So I can't get it all on camera, but I've got... This isn't properly on. This is loosely attached just to keep it out of getting damaged. But we've got the lower hull pretty much mostly assembled. I know it's not in focus or in shot, but there you go. So we've got most of the lower hull done. With the engine installed, and I have most of the upper hull done. Now, I did all this off camera. The last live stream, we were nowhere near doing any of this. We were working on some bits and bobs, and I have put some of the photo etch in, but don't worry, there's more photo etch to do today that I'll be showing you how I do it. The reason I've kind of gone ahead and done a lot of this off camera is it's cutting off tiny parts and putting them in place. I don't need to do 52 live streams of putting tiny things in place. It's a good couple of days to get all these bits done. So with this build, because it's a Bandai kit and because it's a push fit kit and therefore it's beautifully engineered and goes together perfectly and anybody can build it, I didn't really want to do proper filming of the build because it would be very, very boring. It will be like 3.5 hours of me just going click, click. So I decided not to do that. So we've been doing live streams. But don't worry, I'm going to be doing proper filming for this once everything's built, and that'll be the painting and the weathering and everything else. But the build sections, if you've got the instructions in front of you and you've got this kit, you can build it. You don't need my help. So this is just really a chance to hang out with the chat. Now, I do have the chat here in front of me, and of course, Gothorm, as always, is monitoring the chat to keep an eye on it. But yes, this is really just a chance for me to get some of this done and have you as company, and you guys can hang out in the chat as well. Now, if you are watching this, you can see there's a little chat pop-up thing there. That's just the archive chat. That's not the actual live chat. It's about 20 seconds behind. If you're watching this and you can't see where the actual typey live chat is, please do come and join it. If you're watching this embedded in the eModels website, click on the YouTube link that's down there somewhere down in the bottom right-hand corner. Click on that YouTube link, that little icon in the player bar, and that will take you to the YouTube page where you can join in the live chat. And you should do, because it's good fun. We'll have a good time. I'll hang out with you guys. We'll have a laugh. We'll ask questions and have good times. And it's really just a place for you guys to hang out, have me on in the background while I'm prattling away, and hang out with your friends in chat. So if you are watching this, do come and join the chat. There's a number of mods in the chat, keeping you all safe and happy. There's a few in there. They are lovely. They will keep you safe. But if you do cross the mods, they will throw you into the sun. So don't cross the mods. Remember, this is an eModel stream. So first of all, please no swearing, no rude words in the chat. younger builders may be watching this. And second of all, of course, again, this is an eModels.co.uk stream. Please don't discuss other retailers in the chat. This is eModels. If you are wanting to pick up some awesome model making stuff like this, or any of the bits and bobs I'm using, go to eModels.co.uk. Your one-stop shop for all your model making needs. Right. So we'll see how we get on today. So a quick swig of water. Yeah, so I'm in quite a significant amount of pain, but I'll soldier on through. But I'm going to the dentist tomorrow, and they're going to whip out my back molar. And hopefully that will fix everything. So I've never had a tooth pulled by the dentist before. I've had teeth fall out when I was a kid. Now I don't mind dentists; they don't scare me at all. And I already know that whatever I go through tomorrow, it's not going to be as uncomfortable and painful as breaking my toe last summer, which was a right pain in the bum. I mean, you know, I'm not going to have to go to bed with the sneaker on my foot because my tooth's been pulled out. So I'm quite happy. I'm not fussed about it. I'm not scared or anything like that. I just want to get the darn thing out. So I've got a wobbly tooth at the back and it's been all infected. So yes. Anyway, let's crack on. So today we are going to work on, we've got the upper and lower hull parts done. I've not done every single bit on the upper and lower hull because there are some tubes and pipes that I can't put in place yet. Now, I've said this in the previous streams. You're going to see me gluing this today. I've got my Tamiya Extra Thin and my Tamiya Extra Thin fast setting. I am gluing everything together on this build. Now, it is a push-fit kit. There's no reason at all to glue anything on here. However, this will have to be shipped to the guys at eModels. This is an eModels build, so it has to go back to them when it's finished to go into their display cabinet. There's no way I'm building this and putting it in the post and mailing it to them and expecting all the bits to stay on, or when they get it there and they've got it in the cabinet, at some point they'll need to move it and bits will fall off and they'll panic because they won't know what to do. So I'm gluing this together like a proper kit, but there are some bits, like I said, I've not attached yet or I've not glued in place, just because there's certain things like certain parts of the, in fact I need to show you something. If you are building this kit, here we go. If you are building this kit, I have to advise you of something. I made a terrible mistake, a terrible mistake when I put this together. These are just on loosely for now. I've not installed the bit underneath for very good reason, which I'll explain. Excuse me. If you are building this, I just quite happily went along and I glued these parts on here without realising that this bit here, which is a separate part, I shall get a pointy device. This bit here, this piece here, overlaps the edge of this circle where the lower gun well is. Now, these three things here going to here, this just plonks down like that. No problem. I don't need to glue it on. Except, I can't get it on the screen, except when this piece is on, it doesn't fit. So, if you are building this, I would say either leave this piece off, this little piece here with a couple of pipes that go on it. Leave this piece off if you want to keep this off for paint. I'm going to keep this off for painting, and when it's all finished, I'll stick it on. Leave that bit off so you can apply this, or do what I did in a panic, which is simply this piece here goes onto that tube. You've got 3 tubes here and 3 smaller tubes on here. All I did was cut away half of that tube there. That half of the tube, because this was what was catching on here. So all I need to do now is I can easily, it will basically slide in place. So that tube can now slide in the back there underneath, and these two will hold it in place. You can get away with just these 2 tubes. This will stay in place with just 1 tube. These are such a tight fit that you don't need all 3 of them. You could just do 1 of them. But yes, if you have already stuck that on, just cut away. I don't know if you can see on camera, but just cut away half of that, or just get rid of it altogether. You can cut it off together. It's fine. That way I can now slide this in there, and that will then push down onto there. And I've just put it there, just out of the way. So there you go. So that is that bit I wanted to tell you. Now I have also gone ahead and done the photo etch parts on the upper hull, like I said. Oops, don't knock that off there. And you can see them there. There's 2 little pieces here, and there's 1 piece here. If you've never done photo etch before, excuse me, or you've had bad experiences with photo etch, again, this isn't permanently attached. This is just on loosely. If you've ever had bad experience with photo etch, don't panic. These are the easiest photo etch you've ever done, but there's a couple of things you'll need. So I'll show you, I'll be showing you photo etch on these in a little bit, so don't panic. We'll do some photo etch today. And again, this one here just pops down. There are a couple of pipes that come up the hull, and they overlap this edge a little tiny bit. They sit in that edge there. And if I glue them in now, I won't be able to get this on. And again, there's some bits here at this part of the hull that actually slightly overlap the gunwale here. They slightly overlap it, and if you try and get them on, this won't go on afterwards. So if you're not gluing this on, I'm keeping this off so I can paint it separately. Don't glue on the parts that go here, and don't glue on these little pipes that sit in that recess. You'll also notice I've not attached the interior. That will be painted anyway, so I've got to keep that separate. But especially with the lower hull, and possibly with this one, especially with the lower hull. The lower hull, remember, I have to slide in now like that. I can't do that when that's attached. So what I will be doing, sorry, correct myself, I can't get the interior in on the lower hull. In fact, I'll show you on the lower hull. I'm a bit at 6s and 7s today, you can probably tell. On the lower hull, here you go. On the lower hull, if I've got the interior part for this, I can't now get it in to sit on that bit of the hull there. So what I'll have to do is, when it comes to it, get it all painted up and then attach the interior part here, and then I can just drop it all in. Or is that the other way around? I could be wrong. No, yeah. Here's what I'll have to do. I remembered. Yes, here's what I'll have to do. I'll have to put that on loosely, because I need to slide it in. Put it on loosely, like that. Not push down. Then I'll be able to get the interior part. If I don't push that off, you'll see when I get to the painting and the assembly. I'll show it properly anyway. So it's loosely on. I'll be able to get the interior part and slide it under these two parts here. There's two little corners. I'll need to slide it under there because there's two little tabs that go into these holes, and then I can push it all together. So if you do the same as me, don't attach the cockpit part. If you're gluing, for example, don't attach it to this first, because you won't get it in if you have to slide it like that. So there you go. That's a very long, complicated way of saying I screwed up, and that's how you fix it. I'll show it properly in the final videos anyway. Right, there we go. So yeah, so I am gluing most of the parts in place. It's heresy, I know, for a Bandai kit, but I'm going to have to. So there you go. But if you are actually building this, you won't need glue at all. Right, let's have a quick look at chat and see who is in. I'm going to whiz through quickly so I can get going. We have Raging Modeler, Redlen, Lynn Dipple popped in and popped out because she's probably working. Hi, Lynn. We have Model Making Mayhem. Excuse me. Mark is in. We have, who else has come in? Scaly Models. Dad is one of your mods. Welcome, Dad. Cy Reynolds is in. I didn't realise Cy Reynolds wasn't a mod. I should sort that out at some point. Cy Reynolds is in. Our Lord and Saviour Kev. We have Chris the Gross Models, another one of your mods. Welcome, my friend. We have, who else has come in? Donald McKenzie. Hey, guys. Welcome, Donald. Candyman from Mongo. The Raging Modeler. We've done that one. UVB76 is in and says, hello, UVB76. We have UVB76 continues to say all the way through. I know who that is. Christopher C is in. Dexterous Crafter is in. Nat's in. UBV76 says Mikhail Dmitry Vodka Boris Gopnik. Yes, welcome. Ian MG Thompson, Social Distant Tooth Extraction. Yeah, I'll tell you about that in a minute. Sprue and Glue is in. Welcome, Sprue. Phil Lewis is in. Welcome, Phil. Team Inept is in. Soz Babes. We have Killer Chief 187. It's easy as pulling teeth. Thanks. Edward Leonard is in. Welcome, Edward. Crimer, Easy Peas, It's Only Falcon. And my chat just jumped. So Paul is really hopping between the profiles. Who else has come in since then? Sarah Jane says, hi everyone. Welcome, Sarah Jane. Welcome, welcome. And I think I am now up to date with everyone. So welcome to you all. Welcome to you all. Yes, I did inquire at my dentist because I had to phone up and make an appointment. And they said, well, you know, we were closed for a while. But at the moment, we're just doing emergencies for the next few weeks. So I had to call them, and they called me back, and they did a triage over the phone. And I described it, and they went, yep, we class that as an emergency, so we need to get you in and take the tooth out. But what they do is I will park up outside and stay in my car. So they'll be able to see me. I can see them through the window. Then when it's time for me to go in, they will call me. Hello. Yes, you can come in now. And they're only seeing one person at a time, basically. So I will then go in. And they have like the full spacesuit and everything. They've got like the masks and the suit and the Darth Vader breathing. And they'll be like completely in a space bubble, and I've got obviously gloves and a mask, so I'll be wearing a mask and stuff until they need to do the fiddly pokey thing. So yeah, they're still seeing people as emergencies, but they've got the full spacesuit going on. Now I do apologise. My throat's a bit dry, so I'm going to struggle a bit today. Right, work time. Let's do some work. So welcome to you all. I hope you're all well. Has Dad asked the question yet? He probably hasn't, has he? I hope you are all well. Now, let's see where we're up to. So I'm up to page 48, which is where we start on this thing. And the first thing we need to do is actually apply some stickers. I know, stickers. I don't do stickers. But there's some stickers that go on here. These are bits where parts will stick in. Excuse me, I do apologise. But this is where some parts will go in. But there's, of course, lighting for the engine. So they're trying to avoid any light leak through any of these parts, because there will be tiny, tiny microscopic gaps from some of the bits that go in. So they give you a bunch of little adhesive stickers to help sort light leaks. Now, I will be obviously priming this and painting it and everything else, which will also help once it's assembled. But we're not gonna forego the stickers, because it's nice of them to give us stickers in the first place. So we'll get these on, and then these will get covered in primer and everything else later on. So we need to get some stickers on the go. Now, they're not numbered at all, are they? Oh yes, they are. Right, so first sticker is, they're just going to cover up these holes basically. First sticker is number 3. Now these are Bandai's foil stickers, which are pretty good actually. When I make Gumpla, that's not even the right shape. That is the right shape. When I make Gumpla, the only stickers I will use in a Gumpla are the foil stickers. I need my helmet of seeing. That will be a good idea. Now, do let me know if my head gets in the shot, because I won't know. Now, this needs to go, looking closely at the diagrammings, halfway over this bit here, so it's in line with that edge. So flush there. There we go, lovely, lovely. Now it's not intended to be a perfect seal. I mean, technically it is. They want this to be the only thing you have to do. But like I say, I will be priming over this and, you know, painting. Not painting the inside here. I'm just going to burnish it down with a cotton bud to make sure it's in. I'm not going to be, you know, painting it here, but I will be priming this. And what I'll do when I've primed the outside, I'll prime the inside as well, probably with a black primer. Whatever primer I decide to use on the outside, I'll use a black primer in here first, just to block everything. And it'll also seal these stickers in so they don't come off in the future. So that's that there. One. Wear the helmet of seeing to the dentist. Oh dear Lord, no. That would not end well. Sticker number 1. Sticker number 1, please. Cashier number 4, please. So I hope you're all well. Dad has now asked the question: what's on your bench and what's on your bench and what's in your belly? Which is, of course, a traditional question. Which is basically, that's upside down. What are you working on right now? What model, if anything, do you have on your bench? But it doesn't have to be a model. You could be doing something else crafty. You could be, like I know Nat does her diamond art, or some of you are into sculpting and woodcraft and things like that. So you could be doing anything. It doesn't need to be models. But what are you working on right now? What is your current? You could be installing shelves for the missus or for the husband, depending on who does the DIY in your house. But what are you currently working on at the moment? Now there is a little bit of a gap there. It doesn't fully seal that gap, but it's not a biggie. What we'll do, like I say, anything that is, the beauty of this is that once we've painted everything, you're not going to see this bit. So once we've painted everything and everything's assembled, fully painted and weathered, if we do see any light leak, then there's not a problem for 2 reasons. One, once this goes to eModels, they'll never turn the lights on again, probably ever, which is fine. I won't send it with batteries in. I'll send it without batteries. They can put batteries in themselves. Otherwise, the batteries will be there for 6 years and they'll leak and it'll ruin it. They'll probably never turn the lights on again ever anyway. And if there are any light leaks once everything's painted, I can just come in here and I can fill that with something. I can, you know, because this isn't going to get, you don't see any of this, so I can fill it with almost anything really. A bit more tape and stuff or whatever I need to do just to mask off that little hole. So it's not a biggie. It's just an extra preventative measure. Next we need 2 number 4s. Cashier number 4, please. So yes, what's on your bench? What are you working on? Could be anything. These are all number 4s, little square ones. Do you tweeze them, shouldn't I? What are you working on, craft-wise or model-making-wise? And what's in your belly? What are you hoping or planning to have for your dinner later on this evening? Or what have you had for your dinner? Now, you see, I could say lunch because it's the middle of the day, but nobody cares about lunch because lunch is a quick thing. I'm more interested in your big fat dinner later on when you're having all the food in the world. That's what I'm interested in. You know what I might do? I might move the camera in a little bit because I did zoom out a little bit. Let me zoom in a little bit for you because it's going to be quite tight corners this. So let me adjust the focus. Hang on 1 second. Let me get something to focus on. Focusing tool. Right, let me zoom in the focus a little bit. There we go. I think that's about focused. There we go. I've moved the camera around, you see. Is my centre mark still centred? Yeah, near enough. Let me... See, these are the things you have to do when you do a live stream, you see. All the prattling about that you don't realise goes on behind the scenes. Live stream. Now, what I'm going to do, I probably knock the camera every 5 minutes, so I do apologise because it's just about a foot above my desk. So I'm going to be banging it with my headset every 5 minutes. You know what? You have to deal with that. Yes, so what are you planning for dinner? I'll say that again with words. What are you planning for your dinner? Where did that cotton bud go? No idea. I'll get another cotton bud. I've lost my cotton bud now. I'm not with it today. You can tell I'm a little bit hyper because of all the painkillers. It's great. Don't take drugs, kids. So, yes, what's the plan for your dinner? Now, I'm at the dentist tomorrow at 9 AM in the morning. That's not even a real time. I'm sure that's not even a real time. If it is real, it's not legal. So I'm not going to have anything particularly oniony or garlicky just to spare my dentist. Because that's not very nice. You don't go and see your dentist with like morning after garlic breath from hell. That's just rude and cruel. So I will be having some... I think we're having some kind of... We've got some kind of mushroom risotto, which I think is fairly innocuous. We're having for tea. I'm keeping to soft things at the moment for obvious reasons. I think that's about it, really. But that's later on today. And on my bench, obviously, right now is this big boy. Now, a few of you have asked, because if you notice in the description below this video, I do include, or we do include, the link to this kit on the eModels store, or to the fire molds, to the perfect grade Falcon. And do keep in mind, by the way, I don't work for eModels. I just do this out of the goodness of my heart because Pete Mate thinks those contributors are awesome. Two things to keep in mind. If you're wanting to get one of these kits, two things to keep in mind. This is the limited edition version of the kit with the water slide decals and the lighting kit. Unfortunately, it was a limited edition run and no longer exists. So the one that eModels will have in stock is the regular version of this, which is the same kit, but you'd have to get the water slide decals separately. There are official water slide decals that come out once in a blue moon, or other third-party. There are third-party aftermarket decals available. It does come with stickers basically because it's the sticker version, but I would recommend getting the aftermarket ones. eModels don't carry the aftermarket decals, of course. And it doesn't have a lighting kit, but the lighting kit that comes with this is fairly basic, so you can probably, you know, make your own lighting to be much more impressive. It's a nice little lighting kit on this. But yes, it is out of stock at the moment, but I have been advised by the guys at eModels that they will be getting more stock of the perfect grade Falcon in with future shipments of the Bandai goodness. Because remember, all the Bandai stuff is now distributed in Europe by Revell, so they can get them. A bit like hen's teeth, but they will have more in stock. So if you are looking to get this kit, or at least the regular version of this kit, and it's out of stock, they will get more. But if you have an interest, let the guys at eModels know. Drop them an email or use the contact form on the website. Next is 1, isn't it? 1. Use the contact form on the website and just say, hey guys, I really want to pick up this perfect grade Falcon. Can you let me know when you'll have it in stock? And what you're basically doing is they may just be waiting to place orders for these But if they know there's like 6 people waiting to get one of these in, to pick one of these up, they'll know they need to order 6 of them, and they know they need to order them sooner rather than later. So if you are looking at picking one of these up, and I do recommend it, I do recommend it if you're wanting to make a Falcon and you're able to, you know, treat yourself to this kit. It is the most accurate Millennium Falcon kit you're going to get, end of. There's no argument against that, it's just a fact. The closest nearest competitor would be the Revell Master Series Falcon, which is the old 5 mold kit reboxed. That's more like the Empire Strikes Back Falcon, and it's not as accurate, and it's a proper glue kit as well. But yeah, if you want a good Falcon, accurate Falcon, let them know, because if they don't know there's people out there that want this, they won't get one in quite as quickly. They'll get one in, they just might not realise there's a reason to rush for it. So do let them know. Let them know with your words and your typing. Let them know, and they'll be able to get some in. So they have said they're going to get more. There's more on the way. More on, more on. But if you are looking for, if your budget can stretch to it, or if you're able to treat yourself, I do recommend this kit, and I do recommend it over the Revell Master Series. I mean, obviously I recommend this or the Revell Master Series one over all the other Falcons out there, because all the other Falcons from Revell are really simple and not particularly accurate. However, the beauty with those cheap Revell ones is they're not accurate, they're really simple builds, they're not the best in the world, but they're great fun to paint. Any Millennium Falcon kit is great fun to paint. So if you just want to have the fun experience of painting a Millennium Falcon, get you one of those cheaper Revell ones. But if you want a beautiful, accurate rendition, if you want to really treat yourself to the best Falcon out there, then your Bandai is the best bet. Closely followed by the Revell one. That's the wrong sticker. It needs to go on that side, you spoon. There we go. That goes. Which way does that go? That goes that way. It goes here. You see, like that. You see? I pulled the wrong sticker off. Oh. Now, I've been sat here for the last 2 or 3 days. I haven't been able to stay long at the bench because obviously I've been in a lot of pain, so my working time has been restricted. I really just wanted to sit at the bench and just pootle about, take my mind off things. And I have to tell you, the build for this, just putting bits on, is an absolute delight. I had great fun. It really chilled me out. Now, I am gluing everything and going slower than normal. And you'll know me, I build slowly anyway. Now, if you're not gluing this together, then it won't be a quick build. Because it's a perfect grade, you might think to yourself, well, it's perfect grade. I've not got the skills to do a perfect grade. It's far too complicated. It's doddle. It's a doddle. It's a really simple, straightforward kit to make. It's actually really easy to build, but it's also really relaxing and fun as well. So it's not complicated. Just take your time. I'll have a look at the chat in a minute. We've got one more one because I took the wrong decal off, didn't I? A little sticker. That needs to go there. Now, we do have some of these left, so I don't know if they're spares, but we'll find out at some point what those are for. There we go, that on there like that. And I don't expect these to be perfect light blockers, these stickers. But like I say, well, with other things we can do, if it needs twiddling a little bit, we can truly twiddle. This bit is going to be hidden and never seen, unless you take the back off to replace the batteries or turn the lights on. So it's fine, doesn't really matter. You could, of course, if you wanted to, just go over these with your own bit of electrical tape. If you are using tape for light blocking, I do recommend electrical tape. It's proper electricians, the shiny, rubbery stuff, over just masking tape, because it's less transparent, it's more opaque, and also it sticks better and will stay on longer. Right, so that's that bit done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've missed one. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, I haven't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I can't do this. For some reason, when I try and sing it at the same time, it breaks my counting ability. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, we have got 11. Right, that's that bit done. Now, what's next? Next is the photo etching gefahren. Yes, it's photo etching time. So I'm going to show you how easy the photo etch is. Ian says, can eModels do pre-orders instead? They may well have the option. Excuse me a second. They may well have the option on the website. I don't know. You'd have to go and have a look. I know for some things they do have pre-order options available, so they can get them in stock on demand. But go and have a look. I'm not 100% sure. But like I say, I don't work for eModels, so we only know what you know, kind of, effectively. Give or take a few, secrets that we know about. Quick look at the chat. Paul's telling me to wear the helmet of seeing to the dentist and my respirator and the mankini. Ooh, no, I don't think the dentist will want to see that. Raging Modeler, Belly, Nothing, Bench, Minsk and Boo, Judge Dread Minis and a Viper Mark II. Sadly, loss of mojo with going back to work tomorrow, so I've been learning some Iron Maiden songs. Oh, you've got the back to school blues. That's the worst thing with this lockdown. Of course, I work from home, so I'm very, very lucky in that I don't get that now. But for those of you who obviously have a job of work and you've not yet gone back to work, oh, that back to school blues, man. So many people have said to me, oh, God, it's like the worst school holidays last for 6 weeks when you're a kid, and it's like a lifetime. So we've been off for, 3 months now. It's like, I can't imagine what it's like to have to go back to work. Oh. For some of you, probably quite liberating, and for some of you, like, oh, the worst Monday ever. Donald McKenzie, Bench, Runabout. This is a good choice. I have my Runabout ready to do at some point. Blaming Fox, he says. Belly, Beans and Sausage Rolls. Parpitude. Sprue and Glue, Nout in the Belly and the Labyrinth 50x50 diamond picture, says Sprue and Glue. Cool, you're doing stuff for diamond art like Nat does. Brian Windmill is in. Welcome, Brian. Soon to be T55 tank going to eModels tomorrow to pick up Belly Chris. Oh, hang on. Lack of commas, folks. Brian Windmill, soon to be T55 tank going to eModels tomorrow to pick it up. Belly crisps. You can't just say crisps. We need to know what flavour. You can't just say crisps. We need all the filthy details. Keep in mind as well, folks, as we always say, we don't really care what you're building. The most important thing you tell us is what you're eating, because food, it's 3 hours to my dinner time and I'm starving, so give us all the filth about your food. Raging Modeler has just washed a flesh shade into his brew and still don't write brew. Yep, doesn't care. Yeah, as long as it wasn't Agrax Earthshade, you'd be alright. Sarah Jane, scrambled eggs. Oh, it's moved. Scrambled eggs on toast in Belly and now arm shoulder exercises, unfortunately. Oops, sorry to hear that. I hope it gets better soon. AW Drummer is in. Welcome, Drummer. He says currently working on Tamiya Calsonic Skyline GTR in 124th. Nice. Phil Lewis, ham and tomato sandwich in the Belly and cheese onion crisps. Bench is currently unoccupied, but this may change in the next hour. Yes. Dexterous Crafter. I'm just going to hide my dog tags because they're rattling. Dexterous Crafter, Belly for tea tonight. We're having maple barbecue pork ribs with chips. Ooh. Yeah, I couldn't eat any of that right now. Always brush your teeth before going to the dentist. I will do, basically, Paul. Thanks for that. Basically, my routine tomorrow will be get up at 8 o'clock, swear a lot because it's 8 o'clock and I'm not used to that time of day. Eat some dry toast because I need to eat something. They always say eat a little bit of food just because in case the injections make you nauseous. And then brush my teeth. And then have a big wee. Because apparently when I go there tomorrow, they also say go for a wee before you come because there's no toilet. It really is. You'll come in, we'll pull things out of your face and you'll be kicked out the door. So, yeah. Have a big wee. I'll do that as well. Chronoman says, them stickers aren't needed on my Falcon because the LED strip I replaced the big light thingy with is after the place them holes are. Ah, well, we'll stick them on. I'm using the built-in lighting strip, so. EC Idaho, welcome EC Idaho, says working from home since forever. Dad at Scaly Models, who's now changed his name to Dad Scaly Models, says food rules, food does. If you don't eat, you'll die. Mark says, has anyone built the Bell Kit's Skoda Fabia S2000? I don't do cars, so I haven't, but I don't know if anyone in chat may have done. Raging Modeler says, after doing 2 eyes on 2 minis, I'm actually making sure I do them all the time for some reason. I am an idiot. Yeah, I don't do eyes on minis. We can all send you alarm calls if you want, says Paul. You don't need to. I have an alarm that does that for me. We do have a viewer with a Korean name, but sadly I can't read Korean script, so I can't pronounce or say your name. But welcome. Gives me 2 thumbs up. Paul. So Dad changed his name once again. Yes. Right, so that's that bit done. Next, we have a little bit of the photo etchings, and we're going to need a plastic part for this, but I'm not going to permanently install the plastic part, and I will explain why. Let me get this part off the sprue first. It's going to be hard to see on a black spongy mat, but let's just get this piece off. Now, this is inside. I'm not going to clean this piece up once it's off the sprue because it's inside. Okay, so this is the inside. You can see we've got the what would be like sort of exhaust fans and type things for inside the engine, and it will sit like that on top. Now it is actually a little bit loose, but I'm not going to push it home all the way because I do need to take it off again. I just need to sit it there loosely, because what we do is we've got 6 photo etch parts. Now if you're building this, you are given the choice. This kit does come with photo etch. I think the regular Falcon doesn't have photo etch, and you are given plastic equivalents that are just you know, solid. But again, I think you can get third-party photo etch parts, or even the official ones separate if you want to. But I'm going to be using the photo etch because they're awesome. So what we need to do, we have the photo etch parts here. You're going to need 3 things. Cy Reynolds says not cleaning a part equals aneurysm. Yeah, but you're not going to see that, so you get away with it for this one. It's just that bit there. I'm not going to permanently fix this bit in now because I want to paint them separate colour. I don't want to leave them black. I might paint them... See, nobody actually knows. In reality, in the real filming model, there are actually fans under here that help vent the heat from the lighting. Because when the studio model itself they didn't have LEDs. It's proper halogen or tungsten lights in there that get really hot and they melt the model. So they had actual fans. So what I might do is paint them maybe a silver colour and give them lots of black and rusty washes so it looks like equipment. Because if you paint them black and put the grill over the top, you're never going to see them again, and that'd be boring. So we'll keep them a separate colour. So I'll put them in for now. But here we go. Look at these beauties here. Look at that. I'll bring this thing back so you can see. That is lovely. Lovely. Oh, that is beautiful. Such fine detail. Fantabulous. Look at the fantabulosity. Awesome. So, what do we do with photo etch? You'll need these, obviously. You will need the super glue. And what I would recommend for this, use super glue to put the parts in. I don't often recommend super glue, but use super glue to put the parts in. But I'm going to recommend, for neatness, because these are very fine little holes, and if you start blobbing fat glue everywhere, you're going to make a mess and block them up. I'd recommend a thin super glue. This is the thin Zapca, available from eModels.co.uk, because this is like water. However, don't just apply it from here. And if you want a good seal, don't just apply it. What you might sometimes do is put a blob on a piece of plastic and then get a cocktail stick. Don't do that either. Get yourself, now I don't know if eModels stock these, but if not, there's other places you can get them. We'll leave it at that. I would get yourself some of those. These are the little applicators for CA. I think eModels may have some in stock. Have a look. But they're like little fine tubes, and they just sit over the top. And it means is if you just try and get the glue out of here like that, it'll go like everywhere. It just explodes out because it's like water and it'll make a mess. If you use thick glue, you'll block off all the details. So get one of these. And if there's none in stock, you can't find them again. If you want eModels to get some in, drop them an email, use the contact form and say, can you get me some of these fine, I don't know what the official name is, but they're like fine glue applicator nozzles. And you will need something to take these off the sprue with. If you've got a chisel-edged knife with a square blade, you can use that. But I actually find it easiest to use a thing that I can't find, which is, I've got some Tamiya decal scissors. Now, these are really old and knackered, but you can get specific photo etch scissors, or use some decal scissors. You can use a knife blade, but I find using a knife blade, if you're cutting in, and you need to do it on a piece of glass or wood or tile, if you're cutting in, you risk bending the photo etch piece. If you use scissors, very fine, like they said dialogue scissors. Then what the hell are dialogue scissors? Decal scissors. You can easily just snip because it's very fine, very thin plate. Oops! If I can see, let me put my visor down so I can see what I'm doing. Where's the little? There it is. Now I wouldn't use your brand new decal scissors. There we go. So I've no idea which piece I've just pulled off now. There we go. I don't know if these are all identical or different in any way. I think they're all identical. I'm just checking now. Yes, they are identical. Now, they do have to go on us in a certain way, and it's kind of odd that they don't... I'll show you in a minute. They don't give you any little sort of registration marks on these to make sure they're lined up properly. When you do the little grills on the upper and lower, on the upper hull, they have little registration tabs, so they go in and lock in place. On these, though, they don't. They're just round with a flat edge. They've got a little flat corner. That may help, I suppose. We'll find out when we put them on, but I'm hoping that is a registration edge. Now, it is quite fiddly. I'm not sure which bits I've done now. There we go. So I'll just cut these off. You talk amongst yourselves for a moment. How are you all? I hope you're all well. I hope you've all had, whatever you've been doing, I hope you've had a good week. So we'll just get these snipped off. On camera? No, almost off camera. Almost off camera. There we go. Let's move this into the right place. So I used to use a knife to get photo etch parts off. But I've got to tell you, little scissors, I say you can get specific photo etch scissors, or just if you've got some fine decal scissors. It's so much easier and it's less damaging to the part. I've not, since I started using these decal scissors, I've not bent a photo etch component yet. Because when you're pushing down with a knife blade, even with like a chisel edge knife, or even a rounded curved blade, the risk is that you bend parts. And it's not impossible to bend them back again, but it is possible to actually bend a piece so much that it snaps when you're trying to put it back to the right shape. So anything that avoids you bending the photo etch parts is good in my book. Also, lining up these scissors from underneath is a right pain. There we go. Right, so that's that piece. I'm going to put that back in because that's for the cockpit tube. Where's my plastic bag? So I'm going to carefully put this back. I'm going to put this back in the big box. Get in the big box. There you go. Safely stored away. Bend them back and forward to snap them off the sheet. Thanks, Paul. Now we've got a little bit of nubs now, so what I'm going to do is just come in quickly. You could file these down, or I'm just going to come in and, if I can, see if I can snip them flush with the scissors. Now they may actually fit with a little tiny nub on there, but I don't think they will. I can just about trim them down a little bit. If I can minimise the size of these little nubs for sanding or for cleanup, then more the better. Because again, in the interest of keeping things the right shape, scissors are always the way forward. You could use a metal file to sand these nubs down, but you risk bending. So I'm just getting the little nubs. The blades here are quite blunt, but down in this centre part, they're actually still quite sharp. So, how are we looking, by the way? Am I looking okay? I'm not sure if my colour's a little bit off today. If I'm looking a bit funny shaded, do I look okay? Are we sounding okay? Let me know. Are we still streaming even? I think we are. My computer's very quiet, and that always makes me nervous. Do decal scissors get damaged when used to cut photo etch, says Candygram. It won't do them any favours, but I'm pretty certain that decal scissors and photo etch scissors are kind of just scissors basically, but very fine scissors. The only thing that sets these apart is they're very fine blades, but I think you'll be fine. If you've got decal scissors like these and they're very fine blades, then you'll be alright. Because at the end of the day, I'll be perfectly honest, I got these decal scissors, but 99.9% of the time I cut my decals out with a knife anyway, so they're just used for fine scissors. But yes, you'd have to cut off a lot of photo etch to end up blunting and knackering your decal scissors. And if you did, I'm sure you could just resharpen them. But there are dedicated. If you do a lot of photo etch, then it's worth investing in. If you do like occasional photo etch, like once a year, you get a kit with like 5 photo etch bits. Then yeah, just use your decal scissors. If you make a lot of kits with photo etch, if you're constantly making like trumpeter armored vehicles and things like that, then it's worth investing in them because you want the best tools you can get. So right, I can put those scissors away now. We don't need those. Where can they go? They can go there. Swig of water. Use X-Acto for the decals, says EC. I do. Yeah, I use my knife as well. I just cut them out with a knife. Donald McKenzie says Young's modulus of elasticity. I don't know what that means. Young's modulus of elasticity. Measure with the yardstick, mark with the chalk, cut with the axe, says Candyman. But always measure twice. Don't measure once, measure twice. Always twice. Now, how do these go in? Let's find out. They are actually numbered, but it doesn't use them numbered in the instructions, so it doesn't actually matter. So, now they do have a flat, crimped off edge and a gap at the top and bottom. And does it say in the instructions which way round? Yes. Okay, so the flattened edge is here. You can see the flattened edges. These are the sides, so it needs to be that way with the flattened edge on the side. So we're going to have basically like, so that's got a crimp in it there. I've crimped that a little bit, but never mind. Like that. I think, is that right? Yes. So I was kind of hoping, like I said, that they'd have little registration points in them or marks to get them in the right place, but there's nothing in here. It's just a circle. So we're going to need to drop that in. Super match game. Right, there we go. That's in. We'll get all of. I'll get 3 in first. We'll do 3 at a time. Okay. So now I do fully expect this to go wrong because I'm doing it live and I'm doing it on camera and I can't quite get all my normal access. So we'll see how this goes. In fact, what I'll do is I'll do them one at a time. Let's just do them one at a time for safety and the lack of shenanigans. I'm going to put these there. Right, so I need to make sure that is straight. It does sit in there quite flush, so it's not going to move anywhere. That is fairly straight, I think. There's no real way to know. Let me get my ruler. I want to make sure. Now this looks really anal doing this, but it's the best way to do it. That is probably the middle. And that looks about right. So I think that looks straight. These probably will be a little bit off. Flexural modulus is one of my favourite terms throughout when I want to sound like I know what I'm talking about regarding bendy things, says Candygram. But is that when it's linked to the parametric fan? Right, so what do we do with this now? In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get them all in place because I don't want the super glue open for a long time. I'll show you. I'll tell you why. It's better. There's a hair on that. I think there's a hair on that. I can barely see it. Hang on. Get off. With your super glue, the longer your super, there's a fibre. There we go. The longer your super glue is open, the more likely it is to dry up and crust up and look minging. So I want to get the super glue dealt with as quickly as possible. So these are going to go around like that. So these are basically lining up straight with that centre line there. And again, I have to hope. It would have been helpful if they'd given you some sort of registration points. Oh, I think they may have done. I take it back. They have. They've given you little straight bits here. Oh, you beauties. Bandai, all is forgiven. I love you completely. Bandai are so dreamy. There we go. Right, so they have given us little registration points that tally with the flat edges of each one. So when you're putting these in, make sure you're lining up the chopped off edges with the chopped off edges there. Awesome. Awesome. That's got a little bit of a nub on there, so we need to trim that off. This one's not sitting in quite right because this thing is in the way. Little tiny nub that I missed. There you go. Have it. There we go. Have it large. Have it large. So we'll get that piece in there. Of course, once these are in, there's a hair again. Get off. No, it's... Oh, there's a thread of some sort. And I can only see it when it's... There we go. that's better. Oh, yes, do make sure there's no little threads or fibres on there, because once you super glue this, you probably get super glue on the fibre and then you'll just have sadness. Right, so there we go, that's that one. We've got this one here. I'm so happy now that there is that little notch to lock it in place. I thought they just left you hanging there and swinging for a minute in the breeze, but they haven't. They've thought of everything. Bandai, you guys are the best. Dexterous Crafter's off to get sorted for tea. See you later. Thanks for coming in, Nat. Take care, my friend. Slap Lewis for me. And we'll see you soon. Don't really slap Lewis. I don't know why I say that. You probably will anyway. He probably deserves it. Right, this one is being a little bit tricky. Get in. Get in, thought. There we go. Lovely, lovely. Now I have to tell you, I've not done a lot of photo etch. I'm not the best and most experienced photo etchist in the world, but I've done my fair share, and 99% of the time it's been frustrating as hell, because you kind of need a degree in fiddly tiny things and photo etchings and stuff to be able to do it. And whatever you do, it comes out looking terrible. However, these, now I say this now, you watch, I'll mess this up and it'll be an absolute embarrassment, but the other bits I put in worked perfectly. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put this on something. You may wonder why, but I need to, because when I glued some of the other bits in, you see that there? Some of the super glue worked its way through and glued it to this. When I pulled it off, there was fuzzy bits all over it. So I need to make sure that this is just mounted onto something that keeps it away from the desk and anything else. So let me find something not too enormous and fairly innocuous. Perhaps that, maybe, should be alright. I'm hoping. Or I want it to be free from any. Yeah, it should be alright, as long as I'm careful, I think. As long, yeah, that's the worst thing you can say. As long as I'm careful was the last words of anybody that made the terrible mistake. So let's get 3 of these. We need 3 things, 2 or 3 things the same height. Let's get 3 of these little Citadel painting handles. Other composers are available, obviously. Get it? Handle, composer. Just shut up. Right, so that's there. So it's not going to get touching now. I'll move it back a bit because it's completely not in shot. Now, I'm sure I'm going to be out of focus, but I'm sure you're going to have to put up with me. So, got our super glue. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the lid off the super glue. I know you can't see this now, but this is kind of where you guys have to take a back seat for a minute while I do this properly. This just goes over the end of the super glue. Oops. Like that. See it there? And what this means is it's now got this delicate filament. I can control precisely, more or less, how much glue comes out. So let me just do a quick test squidge. Now it is like water and it will explode out. If you don't put one of these little filaments on, it will explode everywhere and you get no control. Just a quick test. There we go, that's working. It just means for these very fine glues, I can control. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to very carefully touch this to the edge of each one. I don't want to use a lot, because that will make a mess. Nothing's coming out. Hang on. I want to make sure I get enough that it can do the capillary action magic, a bit like Tamiya Extra Thin. It can do the capillary action magic and run into the gap between the photo etch part and the plastic. I'll have to move this round in a second. Because it's not super thick and stodgy, apologies if my head is in shot, because it's not super thick and stodgy, it will filter itself underneath the photo etch part, but also, hopefully, it will run around the outside and give me a better fix. Now, if you did, it also hopefully won't get caught in the grills. If you did this with thick glue, I'm keeping an eye on the, I don't know if you can see the level of glue in the tube, I can see it. Now I'm applying almost no pressure at all to this. It's a real gentle touch on the bottle. That just sploops in. Now you could do this with regular thicker CA, but you wouldn't get any capillary action goodness. And it's entirely possible it will still go into some of the little tiny details and make a mess, but if you do it with big CA, big fat CA glue, you absolutely will probably fill in half the little grill details. If you do it with thin, you're giving yourself a fighting chance to not do that. This is very gentle. I'm almost not touching it. Probably far too much went on there, but I'm hoping it will just work its way under the metal. There we go, tiny amount. I probably put on far too much, to be perfectly honest, but then again, it's better to be safe than sorry. There we go. Now, there we go. Now, the beauty of this is that this bit under here is unpainted, like I said before. So if at some distant future time, the guys at eModels move it in the cabinet and go, oop, and they accidentally put the finger through one of the vents, oops, and they pop one of these out, it's not the end of the world, because, oops, it was far too much, because you can, it's plastic and metal, there'll be no damage, you can just put it back in again. So I'm going to take this little bit off the end now. I do recommend using a piece of tissue when you take this piece off. I don't know if you saw that. And then a piece of tissue. Always when you've used super glue, always wipe off the nozzle to get rid of any excess glue sitting on the nozzle. Because if you don't, then when next time you come to use it, everything will have hardened over and you'll be able to get any glue in. Out. Okay, so that's on there. Now, handy trick for you. If you want to speed up gluing, get yourself some kicker. I'm going to spray this on now. I'm going to do it off camera because I need to not point it on my desk, but 1 second. That's probably far too much. I've just sprayed some kicker on it. Kicker just basically speeds up the process. And it smells weird. And it also has beaded up on the things, which is also weird. Hopefully that kicker will go away on those. We'll find out in a minute. So I've got some kicker on there. I wonder if it will... I hope... Let me just get some off with a cruddy brush. Hang on. Make sure. I don't want zip kicker sitting on there. I assume zip kicker just evaporates away, but just in case it doesn't, I don't want it building up on the grills. Thank you very much. Right, so that'll take a minute to dry. While it's drying, I shall have a quick look at chat. Yeah, zip kickers, it's got a lovely smell. It starts off smelling like... It smells a bit like Play-Doh, and then after a minute, it starts to smell like sort of hot electrical components. It's really weird. But basically what it does, it just speeds up the curing process of the super glue, the CA glue. If you don't have zip kicker, you can just exhale on it. The warmth and the carbon dioxide, for some reason, help the CA glue to cure faster. Dad says it stinks, that kicker. I like it. But yes, if you want to get them glues, the kicker is the Bob Smith Industries Accelerator Instaset. It's a little spray bottle. And the glue I used was the Zap CA Thin CA glue. Doesn't really matter about the specific CA glue. Just make sure you've got, in your collection, you want a thin and a thick at least. Oh, excuse me. You want at least a thin and a thick. And the thin, you could do what we've just done with a thick CA. Oops, knocking the camera. Apologies. However, if you did this with a thick CA glue, your process would have been to get some CA... Oi, stay. Balancing, how does it work? You would have got a blob of your thick CA glue on something, and then you would have got a tiny, say a toothpick or something like that, or a cocktail stick, and taken a small amount and touched it to the edge of each one. Now that's a way of doing it, but it means two things. One, you've only got that tiny spot where the glue is holding it in place, and two, If your blob is too big, it will obscure some of those little grill effects, those little grill gaps, and you might fill some of those up. You're putting on a lot of glue in a really small area, so you've only got 2 points of adhesion. If you use a thin CA glue, that's now gone all the way around. Hopefully, it's worked its way between the metal and the plastic, and it's got a grip all the way around the edge of it. So it's like using capillary action, like extra thin glue. So I do recommend, for things like that, where it's easy to get to and simple, use a thin CA and use one of those applicators. It's the easiest way. It makes life a lot easier. Bob Smith Industries. What a name. British Leyland says hi. I don't know if they're British. Teeks is in, another one of your mods. Hey Teeks, nice to see you. Let's have a quick look at chat while that kicker is just flashing off. I'm pretty sure Chris will take an angle grinder to those photo etch parts. That's quite entirely possible. Don't forget to reverse the polarity of the neutron flow. Look at the polarity. Apologies to the bardic broadcast. EC says fibrous contamination. Yes. While I do this properly, says Paul at Team Inept. Shut up. I did get glue on my finger though. Look, yeah, super glue. Whoa, Nat goes. Teeks arrived. Teeks equals Nat confirmed, says Cy Reynolds. It's entirely possible. I don't know though. Has Nat got the kind of terrorist beard? Mind you, then again, Teeks has had to shave it off, so he hasn't got the terrorist beard anymore. Bless him. Ian Thompson is back. Back now. Belly cheese on toast. Bench KV128 Storm Surge. Oh, thin coats. Yes. You're painting it white. Start off with the base. Nice base colour that's of Celestra Grey. Celestra Grey. All through in grey. White scarf for highlights. Always wipe your nozzle, lads, says Cy Reynolds. Or you can use bicarb, says the Raging Modeler. You certainly can, but with, I don't know if bicarb with all that fine grill detail, would you end up with chunks of bicarb sort of blocking all the gaps that are sealed with the glue? You don't want, you want anything with such, you maybe can't see it, but that with that fine grill detail, anything that isn't a very thin, liquid is going to block those tiny parts, and I don't want that. Yes. So bicarb would work if you're gluing two resin things together or something like that, two solid parts. But for this kind of thing, I wouldn't want a big blob of bicarb glued into place over half of the grill. I use Bob BSI super glue too. Best stuff I've come across so far. It's never failed me, says Beck. Yeah, I've usually got Bob Smith super glue or the Zap CA stuff. What I tend to do is I get all my super glues from eModels, obviously. And that's, I'm just being honest there, it's true. But I tend to get a super glue. What's that other one I've got there? What's this one? What's that one? Oh no, I've got some Everbuild as well. Super glue, industrial grade super glue, HV, high viscosity. Means it's thick as anything. I tend to get super glue and then I'll use it once for the thing I got it for, and then I'll leave it there for a year, and I come back and it's a solid block, and it's like, oh. Right, I think that's up to date with chat as well. With chat as well. So is this flashed off? That's not quite flashed off yet, but we'll give it a minute. So that is how I've applied the photo etch. It's exactly the same way that I did it on the escape hatch tunnels. There's 3 bits on there, but they do have bigger tags to attach them. So I'm going to breathe on it. I'm sure the glue is fixed. I'm just waiting for the actual kicker to go away now. Oh, that's the kicker. There we are. So I'm just going to very gently, I'm going to regret this. Touch. Yeah, they're in now. They're not coming out unless, one of the lads at eModels goes, look at that, and yeah, that could happen. And what will happen is this will sit on top. And I don't know if it will, because I was hoping, I didn't think you'd have to glue, I was hoping that these would go in place and then that would lock it in place and not let them fall out. It may well do. These may well lock those into place, but it does say in the instructions, apply glue here. If you can see on camera, apply glue here, and it is labelled as being glued in place. So it is specifically telling you to glue them. And if you know Bandai kits, if you know Bandai, they're all push fit kits. This is the first time I've seen a Bandai kit with gluing instructions. So yeah, that was a bit too much kicker on there, I think. But it's looking good. Oh, look at the ventularity. That's brilliant. I love that. This is my favourite part of the Falcon. You assume it'd be one of the lads at eModels. I'm calling it now. You will shove a finger through a grill at some point. Yeah, I'm not gonna. You say that, I'm thinking, yeah, I should include myself in that. I cannot guarantee, but that's the beauty of it. If that does happen, if that one of these gets popped out, it's just a case of gluing it back in. Nothing will get damaged because super glue is brittle and easily broken. And here's a handy tip: if you are doing photo etchy stuff or anything with super glue, and you make a mess of it, and you think, oh, it's gone wrong, I've glued something in the wrong place. Everything's fixable. If you suddenly need to, if you got these wrong and you take them out, put it in the freezer. The super glue becomes brittle and you can just snap it out. So I'm sat here like Pithy on a rock now while that dries. So what we'll do in the meantime, I'll put that to one side. It is now to one side, and we should crack on with the next step while we wait. We have, let's have a look. We've got to make the back plating now. If you don't use, oh, Graham Emzin says, afternoon, if you don't use CA glues regularly, you can extend its shelf life by keeping it in the fridge. I may get a look from Mama Foxx if I start filling the fridge with super glue. I get enough of a look when I put my wet palette in there. Right, so next bit we're making now is the we're making the. It's not really the right name, but what I call the goose feathers. If you look on a jet engine, you've got the thrust nozzle things at the back, the plates that move like that. So I like to call them. I think I've seen them called goose feathers. So I call this bit the goose feather rack, where you've got the rack and then the goose feathers on the end. So we're going to do that a bit today. One thing we won't be doing is putting the goose feathers on though. There's a very specific reason for that, and I'll explain that as we go. So what I'm hoping to do today is get all of this done, this entire back plate. I doubt it. Dad Scaly Model says flaps. Yeah, same to you, Father. So 06, which is this PCR. See, there's lovely. 06, yes. As always, I'm going to take them off with my big nippers first, and then go in with the more delicate nippers after. Leave a small amount of sprue on that piece. I have ordered. I keep using my God Hand nippers for this build, and of course eModels don't sell God Hand nippers because we're in the UK and you can't get the things anywhere without paying a fortune. So I have ordered from the fine chaps at eModels some bits and bobs. I ordered on recommendation from, I can't remember who it was now, I think Paul at Team Inept. I have ordered, let me put that to one side. I have ordered the Meng Starter Beginner Toolkit, which includes apparently a good pair of sort of medium nippers, which I might find useful. So we'll use those if they turn up. So we need this piece, and then we need Z2s and 3s. Yes, you can see here, if you don't have the photo etch parts, because this is the basic kit with other stuff, you do get those grills as solid plastic pieces if you've not got the limited edition kit, which is fine. They'll come up nice when you painted them. When I built the fine molds had the same thing, solid pieces. So. These are what I call the goose feathers. These T-shaped control vanes on the back, because that's basically what they are. If you look at a jet engine, they do that bit. Paul says, "Yay me! I am the best. We am the best." So I need Z2s and Z3s. So what it is, we will use. Now these have only got little tiny attachment points, so I'm going to go in with my more delicate nippers. I shouldn't really, but it's fine. Zoom in a bit so I can see what I'm doing. Let's get these off. These are all part 2. Oops. Where there are small attachment points, I feel a bit more confident using my God hands. But like I say, you can't get these in the UK unless you import them from Japan or Korea or somewhere, or the US, and they'll cost you a kidney. So I wouldn't even bother. Just get these nipped off. eModels, of course, do sell many different brands of nippers. The Xuron ones are supposed to be very, very good. Very close second to these God hands, which means we've got a perfect alternative basically to God hands. And others are available, of course, but I won't be mentioning ones that eModels don't sell. I've got the Citadel ones. These are in store at eModels. You can get these. People say these are really expensive. These are £10 less than a Revell pair. There's more expensive nippers than these, and these are good all round. They're not the best for fine detail cutting. They're called the fine detail cutters, but they're not. You wouldn't want to take a tiny part off a sprue with these. These are more like your heavy duty, taking big things off fat sprues. The Citadel, they're really nice. They are really, really nice. Citadel call them the fine detail cutters, but they're just in no way fine detail cutters. They're all-purpose handyman, heavy lifting jobs. That's from that side. But with any cutters, if you've got some nice, expensive, fine, actual cutters that are for fine detail, like these or some of the Zero ones, the golden rule is never, ever, if you can avoid it, cut from the very tips of the blades. Because most of these fine detail ones are very fine blades. And if you cut from the tip, you risk snapping the blade. So you'll see how I don't know if you can see, but when I'm putting these on the thing, I'm moving the nub all the way as far down as I can between the jaws, and then snipping it off. I'm not going in with the tips like that, because that's how you break your blades. And I can't replace these when these break, which they will eventually, I'm sure. I can't replace them. These were gifted to me. So yeah, if you've got a nice expensive pair of nippers that are your fine detail cutters, for your little tiny details, look after them. Never cut from the tip. Right, I'll put that to one side. So we need to clean these parts up. Gentlemen, clean your parts. Yeah, so how is everyone? I hope you're all well. What's been going on? Not much to report from my part of the world at the moment. I was hoping to have done this much earlier in the week, but as you know from earlier on, I've been out of commission a bit with dental issues, which are being sorted tomorrow. Hopefully I should be back up and running as normal for the Monday show, hopefully. But we shall see on that. So I've not really done much else during this week, apart from just getting this assembly done. Now, like I said, I did a lot of the assembly off camera, if you weren't here at the start. I've basically completed 99.9% of the assembly for the upper and lower hulls and other bits and bobs. And the reason I've not been filming it is just because the assembly of this kit is really fun if you're the person building it. It's relaxing, it's zen, you can zone out with a good podcast or some music. As I've been assembling it, I found a playlist on YouTube with like 130 episodes of Time Team, so I've had that on in the background while I've been putting all the parts on. It's been very, very awesome and relaxing. All right, Tony, there you go. It's ancient Roman. You can see in the stratification there. Oh, don't come in my trench now. Where was I going with that? I've got no idea. Yeah, so although the build itself to the builder is quite relaxing, it's quite fun, but to sit and watch me do it, you would die of boredom. You would literally die of boredom. I did consider doing a time lapse. I even started filming a time lapse of the build, but again, because so much of it is tiny parts, it will be a 2-hour-long time lapse video of just you wouldn't sit and watch that. So I decided, you know what? There's no point. There's nothing in the build that's particularly complicated that needs me to explain how I did it. Save for one or two little bits, which I will explain properly in the first episode once the assembly's done. Like, you know, I'll explain properly about the gunwales and things like that, because then I can show and tell, which will be fine. So once this is all done, we've got all the assembly done. I've got some small number of sub-assemblies all built up ready. Then we can start with the painting, and those will be proper filmed episodes where I explain things. Now, I will say I don't expect there to be a lot of episodes. This is basically episode 5. Let's say 5.1, episode 5.1. The painting, theoretically, I could actually get all the painting in one episode. One sort of half-hour, 45-minute episode. But I probably won't. But there's not a lot. The thing I've said about the Falcon is it's a fantastic-looking kit. And it always, you know, this one or the Fine Molds kit or any Falcon kit. With the Fine Molds or this one, it looks like it's a complicated build. This one isn't. The Fine Molds kind of is a little bit. The fine molds kit, which is now the Revell Master Series kit, demands a certain level of ability. It's a proper, you know what you're doing kind of kit. It's not a beginner kit. This one, you know, a child could build this, theoretically, if you had an adult to help clean up all the seam lines and stuff. I forgot where I was going with this now. Yeah, so the thing with the Falcon is the builds are usually fairly either tedious, as in the fine molds kit, it drags on and on and on. It can be a tedious build, but it looks fantastic. Or this one, it's fairly simple. It does drag on a bit, but it's a simple build. The fun with the Falcon is in the weathering, and people, especially beginners, always look at Falcons and think, oh, I could never do that. I could never paint that to look that good. The trick with the Falcon is that it's probably the simplest paint job you'll ever do. It's not that complicated, because for the most part it's all one colour. Well, hey, brilliant, fantastic, happy times. It's basically one colour, and the weathering is a little bit of streaking perhaps, and maybe some dot filters, but that's kind of it. You've not got to do mud textures, or there's not excessive amounts of rust. You're not doing any, you know, there's not lots of chipping to do. It's just a straightforward paint job. So I don't think we'll have a lot of episodes for the painting on this. Maybe one or two. But that's my aim, is to show you it's not actually hard. Now, the way when I paint this, I'm going to take a certain approach. I'm not going to try and reproduce the studio model specifically. My paint job will be a hybrid of the filming model and a sort of... Teeks has got to go. Thanks for coming in, Teeks. Take care, buddy. He's probably got the small spud requires feeding. It's going to be a hybrid of the filming model and a sort of what if paint job that imagines the Falcon if it was a real life version of the thing. So it'll be a hodgepodge of what the Falcon model looks like, the actual ILM model, and what the Falcon kind of looks like in real life, sort of. So I'm not going to follow, you know, religiously every streak and chip and texture on the filming model, because that's frankly boring. I want to put some personality into it. I want to put some life into it. So it'll be a bit of both. So I'm not going to. So I'll be doing. I mean, it will look like the Falcon. It'll have streaks. It'll have, you know, gravitational streaking. It'll have the completely unrealistic but awesomely fun black streaks around the engine exhaust. Of course, it will have that. But I'll also do maybe little bits of chipping here and there, and I'll do, you know, some other streaks. I won't follow the studio model. I've got lots of reference shots of the studio model, but I'm just not going to follow it religiously. So we shall see. It's going to be a hodgepodge of both. I'm going to get all my bits off there. Now, what I will probably do, because it's going to be a hodgepodge, I am going to build it without canopy glass. To match, when they first built the Falcon kit, they didn't have canopy glass because the clear parts were reflecting the studio lights or reflecting the blue screen they were using. Which way does this go now? Insert this section. Ooh, a matron. Okay, so we've got a little slot here. The bottom one is different, and the bottom one, these just lock in with that bit. On these, we've got a little slot there, and these little teeth, and these two go together like that. Cool. So the top and bottom ones, they go together differently on the top and the bottom hole. So yeah, so the studio model, I think, I don't know if they put it in later, but the first one, I think, did not have any clear glass or clear perspex in the canopy, because they were just doing the first days of blue screen filming at that point, and they didn't, you know, they were getting reflections of it all over the place. So I'm probably going to do it without that clear canopy, just because it looks cooler. You put a clear piece into a model, and it generally looks, even if you gloss it, it kind of just looks like a clear piece of plastic. Because in real life, let's say, for example, if the Falcon was real, the canopy might be that thick. Let's say it's that transparent plasteel, isn't it? So it would be like maybe that thick. If I scale it down to 1/72 scale, it's going to be as thick as like 2 atoms. So whatever plastic you use for a canopy in a spaceship, it's going to kind of look too thick. So I personally prefer either to do like the Star Trek version of things, where the windows in things are just painted black, because the filming miniature is just black tape over the windows. The one look at the filming miniature of the Federation runabout, it's just black. Some of the shuttles just had black tape or card over where the cockpit windows and shuttle windows and things would be. Or I go for no glass at all. Cy Reynolds says that's the one downside to the 144th Falcon. The turret wells have no frame. You just have to have the glass option unless you venture to shapeways. Yeah, if you look at the gun wells on mine, on this one, I've already installed the window frame. On this kit, you have a choice. You can either have a clear part, which is this entire piece moulded in clear plastic, clear acrylic, or you can put in this frame and leave it without the clear. And it's nice that Bandai have given that choice, because they know that a lot of people like to make these to look like the studio model, which did not have, or the first one did not have clear acrylic or plastic. So it's nice you get that choice. And I've, of course, gone for the frame rather than the clear part, because I will always avoid using clear parts if I can. Just because A, I'm lazy and I don't want to mask anything off. And B, I'm lazy and I don't want to mask anything off. And C, it doesn't look as good. Does not look as good. I can't get this to go back on now. Get on. Get on! There we go. So I'll probably have no glass in the canopy, as it were. Now, what you would do in real life here... Oh, I've got K67. Part K. Where's my K sprue? K sprue! That's W and X. Okay, so we've got 2 L sprues. Where's my K sprue? W, that's not the W. I'm just sorting my sprues out. Hang on, lads, I'm sorting my sprues out. That is a Z sprue, which I don't need now. No, don't need that. I don't think I need that. I haven't got me. Let me go and get my K sprue. Foxx, you're an idiot. Right, hang on. I put my K away. K sprue. Da, 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 da. E, F, G, H, I, J, I, H before I, J, that's J, K. There we go. K sprue. I didn't know I needed a K. That's my K sprue. What was I in the middle of saying? I've got no idea now. I've forgotten already. I do apologise if I ramble or just change subject every 2 minutes, because painkillers. K67 is what I need. K67. I don't know if eModels have the 144th Bandai Falcon in stock. They may well do. If you're not up for getting the big 172nd one, which isn't in stock at the minute anyway, and they have that in stock, grab that. It's obviously not as detailed, and it's a smaller kit, but it's still a wonderful little kit to build. And again, there are aftermarket photo etch sets available for it if you so choose to use those. Choose to use! Right, so this little K part here. Now, the beauty of this plastic on this kit, if you've made Bandai kits like Gunpla and stuff before, you'll know the best plastic on Bandai kits is the white plastic, because it is a joy to clean up. Because it's a white colour, or in this case just slightly off-white, you don't get any stress marks when you trim down any nubs or anything like that. So it means that I don't have to worry about sanding these tiny little parts. That's all the cleanup I need to do. I can shave off the little bits of nub with the knife blade, and what's left is a perfectly smooth surface. If I made a bit of a gouge or something, I'd probably, like that bit, there's a little bit of a gouge there, so I'll just quickly file that. Done. It's very, very forgiving plastic, basically. You can get away with a lot on it. So I'm going to get that bit on there. Now, this bit I will glue in place because it doesn't matter. Remember, if you're wondering why I'm gluing things in place and you weren't here earlier, it's because I will have to send this to the guys at eModels, and the likelihood is that bits will fall off in the shipping or in transit, or they will move it and a bit will fall off and they'll panic. So this just means nothing falls off. Now at this point, what you're told to do, if you aren't painting it, or if you are painting it, let me get this other piece back. How's this doing? Is this all dried off now? Yeah, sweet as, sweet as. At this point, this piece goes on here, like this. Does it just go down? If you can hear a rumbling noise, by the way, that's entirely my gut shouting at me to feed it, which is rude, but it's doing it, so I can't really stop it. My belly's giving all kinds of rumbles. Okay, so these, how does that? Okay, so basically it's going to attach with these little tabs on the bottom of these veins. There we go, that one in there. I may have to clamp this, I think. Oh no, that locks in. That locks in there like that. This kit does go together beautifully. As I've been building this, I've come across maybe 2 or 3 parts that actually need to be glued in, like 2 or 3 tiny components that perhaps, like a pipe that goes into a little hole, and perhaps it doesn't quite fit as snugly as it should and it's a little bit loose, and that would benefit from a little touch of glue. But other than that, every other part has not needed any glue at all, and apart from the photo etch, of course, as well. So yeah, you don't have to glue this kit. If you're building this for yourself, you don't need to use any glue, save for maybe 1 or 2 little tiny parts. Now, at this point in the build, the instructions will say, for decal locations, refer to the water decals instructions. It's not the best English. You have the red panels here, assuming that you're using the decals and not painting these yourself. You have the red decals that go on some of these goose feathers. Now, what's the next step? If you were building this unpainted, just do the decals, you would have to do that now, because later on you will have to put on the actual goose feathers, which are these bits, and these bits sit like that over the top, these little T-shapes. They sit like that over the top and they cover up a little bit of the decal. Now, I found out on the Fire Molds one that you could actually glue these on because it was a glue kit and then put the decals on later, and they kind of fitted. But on this one, they may overlap a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm leaving these little goose feathers off. They will all get painted separately. I may even, heaven forbid, I may even just paint them on the sprue, because all they're going to do is get basically a primer and a base colour to start with. I'll probably keep these on the sprue and prime them, because when they come off the sprue, they'll have 3 nub marks easily touched in. It's very rare that I paint things on the sprue, but I don't want, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 27 of these on sticks being painted when they're all basically the same colour anyway. So the whole thing will be left, these will be left off, everything primed, everything painted, the decals will be applied, the red bits, the same on the bottom as well, and then at the very end, these will be stuck on. They probably won't need to be glued, but if they do, I can go in with the tiniest touch of extra thin, just in there, and it'll glue them in place. There are a few little pipes and tubes that I will have to glue in after painting. Now, I hate doing that, but there's a few little bits that we'll go through when we film it that I'll have to glue in later. But the beauty is, with the tiniest touch of say, extra thin, they'll go on, they'll be glued in place, and you won't really notice them. And if they do make a little bit of mess of the paint, it's the Millennium Falcon. Everything's messed up. So you've got a little excuse as well. So that's those bits done. That's the top of the control veins. Now, we're on to tiny things. We're basically putting all the greebles on here. So, swig of water. Quick look at chat. It's 4:30. I'm not going to get any of this finished, am I, at all? We may have to do another one of these putting things on. Back to work now. Bye, says Osric. Oh, hi, Osric. I do apologise. I hadn't Oh, he came in just before saying, "Hi Fox, how's your gob? Painful but drugged." Thank you for asking. Sai says, the cockpit comes with a glass option or an open frame, so why the turret wells didn't, I do not have a clue. Keep the price down, probably. Is Kasproo the same as Pated with the silent first letter? Yeah. Skip a Pated. It's incredible how many aftermarket photo etch and other types of additional detail parts are available for even the most obscure model kits. Absolutely. And Beck Storm says, speaking of clear plastics, I'm working on a clear red RG Sazabi. Cool. Yeah, there are, for lots of kits, there's always a healthy market in aftermarket parts. And if you're looking to get aftermarket parts, again, they're not always, I mean, eModels do stock a lot of, say, the Trumpeter. They kind of do their own aftermarket parts. Some companies do them. Have a look on the website. If you're looking to get something though, and eModels don't stock a lot of them, just give them a shout. Again, like always, even if it's something they don't normally stock, it's probably something they can get hold of. So give them a shout. Right, little parts time. We need X and, oh, I can smell. Have a smell of that. Smell it. Smell it. Smell it. Smell it. Oh, that zip kicker. That kicker for the CA glue is delicious. I love the smell of it. It's fantastic. Right. W and X is what I need. So that is K. I can put K over there. K over there. W and X. Z can go back in the box. I don't need Z at the moment, I don't think. No, probably not. No, I don't need Z. That can go back in the box for now. So we need W1 and 3. Excuse me, do apologise. W1, W3 and W1. So 2 W1s and a W3. Right. W1. Aha, now. In this tin, I have a small piece that's been in that tin since day one because I cut it off the sprue by accident. And I did wonder when we were going to need it. It's that piece there. Finally, I can put this tin to one side. Yes. Right. So W1. I need another W1, which is on there. Now you'll see me using the delicate, expensive nippers here. Again, it's purely because these are tiny parts with really small gates, so I'm not really taking a risk trying to get these off the sprues. There's smaller gates than I would have anyway if I was cleaning up the part. So W3 is one of these. So this bit here, which looks to me a bit like a tank road wheel or a car model kit alloy of some sort. It's quite possible it's one of those. W1, W1, W3 and X17. It's kind of odd. X17. X17? X17. Oh, random one of them up there. It's very strange. They must have run out of space. Or it may be of a different design, perhaps. I'm going to very carefully get this off. Let's get it off. Is it any different anyway? No? Just on a different sprue. Give these a clean up. One more reason to buy photo etch set. Yeah. Photo etch can either be a real... I like photo etch when it's just things like grills and things that are easy to attach. I mean, I've got to tell you, getting that little micro tube applicator for my super glue and using the thin super glue, watery stuff, changed my life. Just because now I can actually apply tiny amounts of super glue and it works for photo etch. So I'm not scared of photo etch anymore. But that's photo etch as in apply this grill, flat square grill piece to this hole in the model, or maybe, you know, here's a stowage crate that you can fold into a box shape. That's kind of all right. But when you get things like Please assemble this component out of 7 different pieces of photo etch. Yeah, that's when I drop the mic and walk out basically. Yeah, that's not the fun bit. It's beyond my skills. There are people that actually use solder for their photo etch parts. People that make like small scale battleships and stuff, and you have parts for sort of radar antennae and radio antennas and stuff that you can get in photo etch, and you have to actually put them all together. And there are people that will actually effectively scale weld them, but with solder and these brass and stuff. And it's like, wow, that's kind of impressive, but I wouldn't ever do it because, yeah, I don't have those kind of skills. One of those tank wheels is mislabeled on my Falcon. I've been told it's a misprint. X17. I'm sure it'll reappear in other places again. Because I've basically now got, I haven't got an X1, but I've got 2, 3, 4. Ah, I see. X3 has a little widget in the middle. Specifically, let me see if that sounds good. Yes, you see there. Oh, both of these have. Okay, so these have little, you can see on the instructions, little widgets in the middle of the wheel. But they are the only 2 that have that. The rest, I think, are just wheel shapes. Okay, that makes sense. We'll find out. At the end of the day, when it comes to Millennium Falcon, if one greeble's wrong, nobody's ever going to know. It's not like I'm filming it on the internet or anything. So, where are we up to? So we want X17. I don't know which is which now. It doesn't really matter. X17 there. Oh, put that one in place. And that one there. The funny thing is, I remember these 2 specific bits on the old Hasbro toy Falcon when I was a kid in the 70s. I had the original Hasbro Falcon, which looks nothing like the Millennium Falcon. And you know what? It was the best toy ever. So that's those 2. So we'll quickly lock them in place. Remember, I'm shipping this to the guys at eModels at some point, so it will be glued to the hilt. I do strongly recommend, if for whatever reason you want to glue this thing together like I am, you don't need to, and I wouldn't recommend it. But if you decide to, then before you glue anything to anything, always check and make sure that the piece you're about to glue in place won't foul some other piece. Like I did with the gunwales on the bottom, the lower hull gunwales. I glued in that piece, and that then got in the way of the gunwale, and I had to cut that piece out of the gunwale to get it to fit. So always just double check that you can attach a piece and permanently glue it without the risk of suddenly finding that something else won't fit on it or go into place. Now this back armor panel is designed to come off, because this will sit on the back of the ship, and when you want to turn the lights on or change the batteries, you basically pop this off. So this is going to fit regardless. So don't have to worry about that. Don't need to worry about that now. This needs to go there. Tweezers. It's the lower back left side didn't fit the slot. I shall have a look in a moment. Oops. Oh, I nearly popped that out. I rested me. Oh, there we go. Did I? Nearly. I put my finger on that grill and forgot. There you go. Nearly did it. It was nearly true that I was the one that broke it out. Nearly. Just be careful with those guys. Oops. Yes, I imagine if I didn't glue these parts on, that when it when it eventually gets to eModels, they'd have most of the Millennium Falcon and like a whole mess of little tiny parts underneath, and they'd be like, what? What am I supposed to do with that now then? No. Did I actually? No, it's still glued in place. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's the lower back left side. Let's have a look through instructions and see just for a second. Oh, I need to glue these two on. I've done that. So a quick look and see. Lower back left side. See where it appears again, shall we? There's W2, which is on the right side. W4 is on the right side. I can see it there. Where's the bit where it says to edit? W4. Okay, so W4. So it says W4 on the left and the right. So W4 is a straight slot. And W4 on the sprue is a straight slot. Okay. Maybe they've corrected it. They've all the two left now. I've got the straight slots. We shall find out. I mean, at the end of the day, I've still got a W3 left. So it could be that one that's perhaps the wrong one. W4 left and right. They've both got straight slots that should fit. Where does the other W2 is that one there. Is a straight slot. W2 again is there as a straight slot. The only one I've got left then is a W3, which is a T-shaped bar. Could it be that one? I mean, it might not fit. At the end of the day, if they don't fit, we can just trim the pegs off and stick them down. W3. Where do I put that last final W3? I can't see where it would go. Oh, we'll find out as we go along. We shall find out. All will be revealed. Yeah, worst comes to worst, you just trim the pegs off and put it on, so we'll be fine. But thank you for the heads up, I really appreciate that. We'll see what happens when I get to it. Foxx, you've restored my mojo somewhat because I've been very relaxed and almost finished my misc and boo. Well, it's because I've got all the energy in the world because of painkillers and I'm totally hyper. I'm just draining the energy out of all you guys. So you can be chilled out. Nearly drank paint water, nearly drank paint water. Ew, 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 says the raging modeler right after he said that he was chilled out. Dude, that's why you need a thing for your paint water that's not obviously a cup. I don't know. Do you know? More importantly, triple check the parts you're gluing together are the right ones, lol, says Beckstorm. Absolutely. Quano Man says W4. W4. All right. Oh, yeah, we'll find out. We'll find out where it goes. As we go along, I'm sure it'll be fixable. Right, where am I up to? So X28 and X27. Big bitch now. 28, 27. X28, X27. Can I get these off with the good snippers? Yes. 28 and 27 are there. Might want the big one, the big boys for these, I think, just to get them off the sprue to start with. Yes, golden reason that your water pot should not be a cup is you'll drink from the water pot. Also, another handy tip, don't do like I did once and have a cup for your water pot that's identical to another cup that you also drink coffee out of. I did that once. If anybody's ever played Persona 4, I got myself made a couple of Juness mugs. Got the Juness logo on them. Because every day is great at your Juness. And I had one that was a bit cracked, so I used it for water for my brushes, and one that was in good nick, so I drank coffee. And one day I was working away, and I had one full of coffee, and one was my water mug. Yeah, I did, yeah. And the thing is, right, if you drink coffee, this is the problem with drinking coffee. If you drink coffee and make models, the problem is that when you're painting, whatever, doesn't matter whatever colours you do, there's a little nubule there, is that correct? Okay, be aware, there's a little sort of what looks like a nub on the end of these parts, on the end of X28 and 27. Looks like a little nub. It's supposed to be there. Yeah, if you drink coffee and also paint, whatever colours you paint with, after about an hour, unless assuming you've been painting with more than one colour, eventually they'll all munch together in your paint wash cup. In your brush wash cup to look like coffee, albeit a bit weak coffee. It will look like coffee, and you'll be like, wait, which is which? Oh, I've done it. It's always the way. It always looks like coffee. It's weird. I remember those cups. I was waiting for you to drink from them. Yes. Well, the thing is, one of them fell apart and broke. And I was really sad. There's only 2 in the entire world because I did the artwork and I got the cups made. So I'll probably get some more made. I did them on Cafe Press. I couldn't sell them because, of course, it's copyright artwork, so I couldn't sell them. But I designed I built the entire logo and Juness logo in Photoshop. Had them printed up, and they were nice big mugs. They were my favourite mugs in the whole world, and then one fell apart and broke. So I've only got one left now, and that one's got a cracked handle. So it would have to be. It can only be a paint wash cup. And I've got me Citadel water pot, which is fine. But you know what? I really miss having my Juness mug on the desk. So I may resurrect it as a water wash cup. Won't smell like it though, says Beckstorm. Yeah, unless you're like me and you let your coffee go cold, because it takes like 3 hours to drink your coffee. Yes. So we're going to put that. There. Let me see. Just pops on there like that. Now these two parts, X27, 28. This is for all the Simons out there who can't walk past a seam line without cleaning it up, or a mould line without dealing with it. There is a honking great mould line on this part. On these two parts. Right across this edge. I'll do it on camera there. Right across this edge, there's a big like mould line there. Don't worry about it, because that mould line disappears into this hole, never to be seen again by human eyes. And there, like that. I do apologise for my froggy throat today. A little bit of a frog in my throat, but I'm not well. You can let me off. That goes on there like that. Lovely, beautiful, beautiful. I can hear strange noises outside, and I can't tell if it's some kind of weird bird I've never heard of, or a very strange child. I don't think any of our neighbours have 7 or 8-year-old children, but it's a very strange, like, sound. So that's those two parts on. And of course, if you've seen my stuff before, you know what I do. Any big complicated kit like this, as you do each step, scribble it out. The reason I'm doing this is because there are things where I've marked it as not done yet. Not done yet. Not yet. These are things I haven't yet been able to do. Remember I said I can't put the pipes on the top of the upper hull there because of the gun well needs to go in first. So I need to be able to go back to these. So I've marked them all off with little tabs of tape. So I know there's a tab of tape. So all these little bits of tape are pages where there's something I need to go back and do later. Or you could use highlighters, whatever. But I just do it this way. How are we doing? 51 viewers. Holy moly. Welcome to all 51 people. Now, there aren't 51 people in chat. So I'm about to go for a great big wee in a minute. But before I do, there aren't 51 of you in chat. So if you are watching this, come and join the live chat. I'm just on in the background for most of the people watching. They just have me on in the background. They're not even really watching what I'm doing. They're just listening to me waffle on. And they're interacting with their friends in chat. I'm doing these streams because I need to do the work, but also it gives you something to watch. Now we're all at home, we're all locked down for a lot of us. We can't go anywhere, we're all bored, can't go to work. So join in, join the live chat. If you're watching on a mobile device, if you're watching on YouTube, the chat's just, I mean, there's a blue box there with chat. That's not just, it's on the right side. If you're watching on a mobile device, like a tablet or a phone, it may be underneath the video player. So scroll down a bit, you can join in the chat there. If you're watching this embedded on the eModels webpage, or embedded anywhere else, and you can't see live chat anywhere, then just click on the YouTube icon that's down in the bottom right hand corner, down here near where the play button and pause button, everything else button, all those buttons. Click on that, it'll take you to the YouTube page where you can join the live chat. But do join the live chat. They're all lovely people. They'll keep you happy, they'll keep you safe, and they'll just have a good time. Now I'm going to go for a great big wee just for 2 minutes. So I'm going to put you on the hold music, and then I'm going to come back and we'll carry on. So give me 2 moments. Hold for the operator, please. I haven't got any hold music. Let me put you on the pre-roll for just 2 minutes. That's better. There we are. Sorry about that. Thank you for your patience while you waited. Right. What are we up to? What time is it? 10 to 5. Cool. No hold music. Yes. No, I have to... When I do streams, I have to physically make the pre-rolls and the please hold type, you know, we'll be back in a minute stuff. And I just haven't got around to making one of these. This is probably the last one of these I'm going to do, so I didn't really need to do that. Right, K17, 1 and 31. K-sprue. K-fabe. K-sprue. K17, 31. Right. 17. I told to tell you, I've still not broken any of these yet. Hang on, I've got a fingerprint on my glasses. Hang on. Oh. Do you know, there's always something sent to test me. There we go. I've not broken any of these yet. I've nearly broken one of them, and it's got a little bit of a... It probably snapped when I take off the sprue, but I've not broken any of them outright. So K17 and 31. So 17 is there. Now remember, we've discussed this. Cutting these fine, delicate parts off the sprue. It's all about flexings. If I try and cut the end piece off now, it's joined there and it's joined there. This is a solid chunk of plastic. There. There's a pointy stick. That's got a solid piece on it. It won't bend there. That's just the thin pipe. It will bend. And it will probably snap there if I try and cut there first. So, try and go for your midpoints first. Use the finest nippers you've got. And just gently snip. Now, if I cut this piece here, which has a bit of a flange on it, then this is going to bend at this thin pipe part, and that will probably snap. So if I do this piece first, that end, again, finest nippers you've got, slowly snip. And then I can release the pressure on this bit. Done, not snapping. So I've said it before in the other streams, use some logic. If you've got a pipe or a tube and it's like that, like this one here, let's find a decent example, like this one here, which is like a loop, and you've got attachment point there and there and there. If you try and do that one, example, I would do these two first, that one then that one, because if I do that it's going to bend there. But if I do this one first, or would I do that first? I'll probably do that bit first, actually, because if I do that, it's going to bend here, but this is reinforced by the other one. So on this one, I'd do that one first, and then those two. And on this one here, two end pieces, and that, I'd do this one first. Because if I try and cut this, it's going to bend there and snap. If I do that one, it's going to bend there and snap. If I do this first, then it's going to work. Yeah, it's hard to explain. You figure it out. But yes, try and allow it, release the pressure first. He said flange. Yes. Have I missed Abteilung so gloriously that actually done any buildings, says Cynical Steve. I've done many buildings. Look. I've done photo etch and everything. You missed stickers and photo etch and all kinds of shenanigans going on. Where's the other one? I need 31. Is it 31? Yes, 31's on this side. So again, here, two ends there, middle bit. I'm going to release the pressure on the middle bit first. Snip. Release the pressure on the end bit because this is thinner. Snip. And then I can release this bit with the extra plastic on it. There we go. And I also need K1, which is... There's 66 parts on this sprue. It's quite impressive. Also be careful when you're handling this sprue, because almost a number of times I've almost snapped apart by putting my finger through it. Now this one here, I don't recommend using big chunky nippers on these parts because you'll break the part, but on this one I can't actually get the nippers in to cut it, so I'm going to have to I'm going to risk it for a biscuit. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to snip it here and here and then here, because I can't get my fine nippers in easily because they're right close to a little raised corner, and if I started snipping here with these big chunky nippers, it will bend and snap. So what I can do now, when I've released the pressure from a chunk of places, I can snip carefully here, and I can snip carefully here. Sometimes you've got to be a bit tactical. Now, if I can get my little nippers in now, Steve says, impressive, who are you and what have you done with Foxx? The difficulty is a little raised bit that's getting in my way, so I don't want to use the tips of my nippers, but I may have to. There's sometimes when you have no choice and you've just got to hope and pray to all the gods in which you believe, if any, that the blades don't snap. In this case, it's beautiful soft Bandai plastic, so there you go. Going out, take care, you guys, and see you next time. Take care, Paul. Take care of yourself, buddy. Hope you're feeling good. I forgot to say that earlier. So, take a logical, lateral thinking approach to getting tiny, thin tubes and pipes off sprues. Go slowly, and just imagine the pent-up tension in the part. I've been on dates like that. But yeah, imagine the pent-up tension and think the best way to approach it, the best way to release any tension. If that means, like I've just done there, cutting around the big sprue branches and then whittling it down closer and closer, that's sometimes something you have to do. If it means going in a certain order, then do it that way. It's hard to explain, and I can't really explain it in a way that will make you understand it. It's only experience that will allow you to look at a piece like a thin pipe or a thin tube and be able to assess the best way to get it off. It doesn't always work. I mean, you know, I'm not lying to you. I've screwed it up myself a few times. So far on this build, I haven't. The only pipe that I have almost snapped was because, like I said before, I held the sprue and put my finger through a piece, like, oh, because I didn't look where I was putting my fingers. So you can probably still do some little goofs every now and then, but if you want to minimise, especially with this kit where there's like 4 or 5 sprues of tiny thin tubes and pipes, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. Edward Ellis says, tube removal skills video part 5, please like and subscribe. Yes. I'll try and do a proper video of it one day maybe, but I'd have to have a sprue full of tubes. But yeah, I could do like little graphics and everything. Do like an army style. Tube removal part 1. No, how would the army describe it? Parts sprue removal from. Part 1. Know your enemy. That's that one. Now here we've got the challenge of cleaning up these little delicate parts. If you've got the cojones and you know how to angle it, you can trim nubs off with a blade. You've got to know and understand how that piece is going to bend and flex and where to hold it. If I hold it like this, I might get away with it because I'm going downwards and it can't bend left or right because I'm going downwards with the blade. So if I'm gentle and I'm lucky, I might just get away with it. I could anchor it with my thumb, my finger. I know you probably can't see this because it's too far away and too small. Isn't that a song by John Vangelis? Too far away, too small. I'll find my way home. I used to love John Vangelis when I was much younger. It was a unique combination. John Anderson with his high-pitched singing and Vangelis with Vangelis, basically. Friends of Mr. Cairo. Well, I think I had the best of John and Vangelis. I think I also had the Friends of Mr. Cairo. Was that actually an album? I can't remember. Although going back and listening to the Friends of Mr. Cairo, no, most of those songs are actually terrible. But when I was younger, John and Vangelis was good stuff, man. Good tunes. Find My Way Home. It's quite a nice song. You kind of have to like Vangelis, though, to like John and Vangelis. If you don't like Vangelis, then John and Vangelis will be lost on you. It's of that era. If you've no idea who John and Vangelis are, then you're probably best not going to try and find out because you won't like it. You need to have kind of grown up in the 80s. Cynical Steve says, you should have tried the cushions around the doors on the D'Agostini Falcon. Hundreds of these tiny bits. They only did nubbage sanding. You know what I'm talking about, Chris. Fox, no clue. I did some of the interior, don't forget. And yes, I hated it. There were 2 reasons. There were 2 things about the D'Agostini Falcon. The first reason that I stopped and never got past episode 6, there's the joke, is that I realised it was going to be bigger than my workbench. So that was an important thing, and I had to stop until maybe one day I could get a bigger workbench. However, there was a second reason. Not that I didn't finish it, but I had, before I decided I couldn't carry on with the build at that time, I had come to a decision that I was not going to continue with the interior at all. Because, two reasons. One, it was horrendous. It was so basic and inaccurate. I'll get that off. That it was horrible, and it would have required just buying the Shapeways accuracy interiors, because they were just terrible. The cockpit was fine, but the passenger bay and the hull were just terrible. But also, yeah, those cushions just demotivated the hell out of me completely. Just get the will to live with them. Chris says something and then retracts it. I didn't see that big enough. Dang, those tubes are tiny. Oh yeah, these aren't even the smallest ones. These ones aren't so bad because they're a bit short, so they've not got a lot of flex in them. But it's when you get the really long ones, that's when it takes a while. If you're doing these kind of tubes, the 2 tools I recommend are, 3 tools are your finger and thumb, 4 tools. What have the Romans ever done for us? Finger and thumb. So if I can lock this in place now between my finger and thumb, it's not going to bend that way or that way. I'm stopping it bending and I'm holding it at this chunk of plastic. So this bit here isn't bending because that's not even part of the equation. So this is anchored in place. The tools you'll need are your knife, sharp blade, and a metal file. Don't use a sanding sponge if you can avoid it. A metal file because it'll do the job easier, faster, and move the piece around less. And also, only ever go in one direction. Don't go back and forth. You want to minimize how much this piece moves. Now, I'm going to use a sanding sponge here, very, very gently, just to smooth off the file mark. But as you see, I'm still going in one direction, and I'm being very gentle. If you've got a plastic tube, let's pretend that's a plastic tube, and you're sanding backwards and forwards, you're doing that. That's going to snap. If you go in one direction, it's still doing that, but if you've then anchored your finger against your finger, it's doing it less. That is going to be a lot more stressful than that. So always go in one direction, and use a metal file if you can for the majority of it, if not all of the sanding, just because it does the same amount of work with less effort. It's tricky, but you'll get a feel for it. You'll get your ninja tube sanding skills eventually. Oops. Also, pretty much anything other than the Millennium Falcon, you won't get this many tubes, apart from maybe the Y-wing, which yeah, you'll get this many tubes. Well, even then you won't get that many. Pretty much the Falcon is the worst tube offender. Y-wing a close second, but yeah, I've got that in my stash actually to do. That's my own personal kit, that. So that will be a nice fun build. By far my favourite Star Wars ship is a Y-wing. A New Hope style Y-wing, not a Rebel style Y-wing. I don't like the clean lines of Clone Wars Y-wings. I mean, I prefer them without the armour plating on. There we go, that's that done. Cool, that's 3 parts cleaned in what, 4.5 hours? Yes. Right, let's get these attachitated. So we have this one, I don't know which is which now, but we'll find out. It should be fairly easy. K17 is this one here. Yes. These two should be basically the same. With me Twazer letters. Why is demonstrating the Foxx? Why is Foxx demonstrating the tubes giving me anxiety? The same reason that me watching Chris put spokes, clean up the spokes on that motorbike kit he did, gave me anxiety. Exactly the same reason. But he had a lot more bending to do. These are fairly stable. But like I say, I've not snapped any of these yet. I've had loads and loads of these parts, and I have not yet snapped a single one. The only one that's had almost snapped is because I nearly put my, I'll use some real words, is because I nearly put my finger through it when I was handling the sprue. I was after a different part and I actually grabbed the sprue wrong and nearly pushed it, or pushed it a little bit, and it probably will snap when I take it off the sprue, but that's not because of the cleanup, that's purely because I got my head in shot. That's purely because, like a sponge, I put my finger through it. A little bit of something something to hold it in place. A little bit bendy that one. But you know what? If the tube doesn't fit flush to the surface, you know what? I actually quite like that, because it makes it look like it's an actual stuck-on part, rather than if the tubes actually just fit flush to the hull, then it just looks like it's moulded detail. Like this one just looks like, I put it on there and it just looks like you wouldn't know it wasn't, I've lost it, there it is. You wouldn't know it wasn't just moulded detail like the rest of it. Whereas if it doesn't fit quite right, then it just looks like something somebody's glued on. There you go, that's that one. Well, those two, and then we have K1 in the middle. Oops. Fingers and thumbs today. K1 in the middle. Apologies if my head keeps going in shot. There's very little I can do about that. Oops, hello. K1's going to give me issues. K1 goes there, right. Your entire reason for existence, K1, is to go in that hole. So please just go in that hole. There we go. It's on there. Avoiding the photo etch parts as best as I can. Like the damn plague. Touch of glue. There we go. How were the tubes created on the original studio models? Were they styrene rods that were heated and bent to fit, says Candygram? They were probably a mixture of styrene rods and also exhausts from model kits. If you look at a lot of them, they have pretty obvious mufflers and attachment points and things on them. A lot of them, because a lot of the things they would have used would have been like tank kits and truck kits and vehicle kits. So a lot of them would have been tank parts. I assume they would have tried to use as few scratch built parts as possible. If you look at the Falcon itself, the actual hull is basically wood and perspex, and that's just the flat shape, and then everything else is kit parts, apart from little ticks and squares where they've got little, you know, they might have a panel. I think they created the individual panels, like you can see the panels here. They stuck them on, they cut out and stuck on, you know, plastic car panels, and then they attached all the planton details, as D'Agostini calls them, all little greebles. But yeah, I think they would have just tried to keep as many of them as just kit parts to save time. You know, why sit there making a bendy piece of plastic tube when you can just get an exhaust off a, I don't know, Opel Blitz? There you go, it's that shape. Brilliant. Where can I put it? So you don't forget, of course, you're thinking, is it amazing how that piece of exhaust pipe just fits between that piece and that piece perfectly? You're thinking of that because you're coming at it from that angle. When they're making it, they're like, how big's that? It'll go there. Will it fit there? Brilliant, I'll put it there then. Yes. Don't mistake perfect fitting for intelligent design. It's more just convenience. Cynical Steve says, talking of Games Workshop models, it was payday. I may have bought an actual Baneblade, an Impulsor and Repulsor. Full actual kits, not just parts. The hover blade will soon be birthed. Oh, wow, awesome. If you don't know who Steve is our good friend who likes to scratch build things and just take... I'm going to glue these on, actually. He takes bits of kits and he makes spaceships and things out of them for fun. I don't think I've actually ever seen him build a kit. And he built a fantastic fake Baneblade. If you don't know, Baneblade is a Games Workshop tank kit for Warhammer 40k. He built a fake Baneblade, what he calls a faux Baneblade, out of an old Action Force toy tank and lots of Baneblade parts and other bits and bobs. And it's brilliant. It's like a Baneblade but plus. And what he's going to do is actually going to take now some. He's actually bought himself 3 proper kits to then cobble into this hover Baneblade. He wants to make it a hover Baneblade because he doesn't want to do tracks. Raging Modeler, I think I'm going to actually try and finish my Necrons for my next video. I then get more, maybe stripe them. Hang on. Then when I get more, maybe strip them and repaint them in a new scheme. Cool. The wiring is just as bad for tubes as the Falcon because the wiring is all tubing. Yes, I don't think there'll be as many tubes though. There are like the 66 parts on that sprue, and that's one of 5 tube sprues. So yeah, I think the Falcon still beats it. So that's those three. I can scribble that off. Scribble. Now I don't have to worry about any of these little greebles overhanging the edge because this piece is designed, like I said, taken on and off because it's where you get access to the batteries and the switches. So I can just go ahead and stick everything on this. So we need case 6, 21 and 23. A lot of the case sprue today, I think. 6, 21 and 23. 6, 21 and 23. We have 4, 5, 6. 6 is here. Now again, like I said before, use your finest, best quality nippers on these parts. 2 reasons. 1, you don't want to snap them. So yeah, I wouldn't use your steel cutters on these. What was it? 6, 21 and 23. But also, very good nippers, like some of the Zurons and things they have in eModels, will actually cut close enough to the plastic that you don't need to do a lot of cleanup. 21 and 23. 20, that's not... There's it. Okay, 21. I was looking at completely wrong part there. 21. Yeah, if very good nippers will actually allow you to cut right close to the piece without the need for leaving a massive nub, so you don't have as much cleanup to do. Go 21 and 23. Is this piece here, is it? Don't like that piece. I had to cut too close to the tips of my blades then. Don't like that. Don't like doing that. Right, let's get these cleaninated. Extend. Whoop. Big piece of nub on there. Ugh. Thanks, Obama. Oh, hello, ping. I don't know where that went. That'll be a mid-inner then. Trying to get my head. I can feel the camera on my hair, so I've obviously got my head in shot. I do apologise if he keeps in the top of my head constantly. Okay. Now, if I can get nubs off without having to file them, using a blade is actually a lot quicker. But it's also fraught with danger because obviously it's a more aggressive process, and you risk snapping things more. And what we're saying about nippers, if they cut nice and close to the piece, it's really hard to see where the nubs actually are. Cynical Steve says he can't post links. Yeah, only mods can actually post links. If you want to get one of them, ask one of the mods nicely, then maybe they can post a link for you for whatever it is. I think he's putting a link to his page. Someone wants to see his work. Yes, only mods can post links. If you ask one of the mods quite nicely, they'll post a link for you. If you slip them a $5, they'll do whatever you want. They're cheap. Especially Sai. Sai's super cheap. He'll do anything for you. Give him a $5. Best friend for life. Wait, is that Paul? I'm not sure now. Could be Paul. Sorry, guys. Reggie Modeler, have you heard that Disney Star Wars may no longer be canon due to an event in Rebels? The Disney trilogy will be an alternative timeline. Don't really care, to be honest. I'm a sci-fi nerd and a Star Wars nerd, but I don't really care enough to get upset when they do things like that. It's just nice. It's just fun sci-fi for me. I'm not really that fussed. Is it a cool film to watch? Yes. Does it have spaceships? Yes. Does it have dinosaurs? No. Can't have everything. Has it got spaceships? Yes. Therefore, I don't care. I'm not that much of a Star Wars nerd that it bothers me. Same with Trek and other stuff. I don't really care. If I'm getting a good story, it doesn't bother me whether it fits in with the extended universe or the existing universe, or not really bothered. K21, it says to do it a certain way, but it's not really clear. That way, okay. K20, let's do it with the tweezers so you guys can see what I'm doing. Paul says he's only films. Canon is academic. If it's fun, it's fun. Yeah. I don't remember anything in Rebels that would have changed the canon anyway. Why is that not going on properly? Bleh. Bleh. Don't quite know why that isn't fitting. Come off again. Won't stay in, and then when I need to get it off, it won't come out. Gosh darn it. There we go. I'm going to guess it's got something to do with Ahsoka Tano or with Darth Maul. I'm going to guess. It's always them two, isn't it? That's still not going to go in. I've got the wrong way around now. Yes. It tasks me. It tasks me. And I shall have it. It was supposed to go that way. Okay, maybe this isn't supposed to stick down all the way then. Maybe I'm just assuming. Yeah, I'm not that much of a Canon stickler that I actually care, really. Has it got spaceships? Yes. Has Jar Jar Binks in it? No. Then I'm happy. K6, K23. Has it got tactical droids? Yes. Then I'm the happiest man in the world. Has it got tactical droids? No. Then that's room for improvement. I like me some tactical droids. Bandai, you need to do a tactical droid kit. You need to sort that out. Seriously. Am I going to have to just get on a plane to Japan and shout at you until you make one? Is that what I'm going to need to do? It's off camera, isn't it? I do apologise. I'm doing everything off camera at the moment. And I know you can get tac droids off, you know, shapeways and stuff, but they're not the best. They're kind of simple, basic. I want a proper tactical droid figure that I can super detailed and I can paint up. I actually tried, because you know, like sometimes I like to do silly voices and things in videos. I tried recreating a tactical droid voice in Audacity, and I got reasonable but not spot on perfect. I was using various vocoders and filters and limiters and stuff, and it's, yeah, I think vocoder is a key to it, to be perfectly honest. I think the key to tactical droid, the good tactical droid voice, is the vocoder. Now, just because I spot these things, the best tactical droid voice in Rebels is voiced by, I don't know his name, but it's the guy that also does, who's the, you know, the separatist general who's like a spider dude. Him, he does his voice. It's the same guy. He does one of the tactical droid voices, and he does the best tactical droid voice. And did you know? You may not know this, but I for some reason I'd never figured it until I realised it. And one day I'm like, oh, wait a minute. The guy that voiced Obi-Wan in Clone Wars, it's the same voice actor that did Plo Koon. And as soon as once I realised that, I couldn't not hear that. I was oblivious to it until one day I just watched one episode. I'm like, hang on a minute, that's the same voice actor doing Plo Koon and Obi-Wan. And it's like, no, I can't help but hear that now. It's kind of one of the moments you're like, oh, I can't get around that now. Right, I've got a fingerprint on my glasses again. There is probably a sci-fi movie with ships and dinosaurs. It probably is. What's that toy range that had dinosaurs with lasers on? Nobody gets like this over Thor: The Dark World, etc. Too many Star Wars fans seem to hate what they claim to love. Yeah, I think there's too many just, like, you know, anoraks out there, keyboard warriors. I don't know. There's too many sad and pathetic people that take it all too seriously. At the end of the day, I just want to sit down with a bit of food and enjoy a good story. I don't really care about all this isn't right and he shouldn't have done this and this isn't correct. Yeah. Of course, reboot Halo and I'll just get angry. Yeah. There's a dino spaceship on my painting table at the moment, says Cynical Steve. Beck Storm is surprised to realise there was an Iron Sky 2. Yeah, Iron Sky was terrible. I've not seen Iron Sky 2. Iron Sky was one of those films that when they first announced it and you're like, oh, Nazis on the moon. Oh, this is going to be great. I'm going to have to watch this. This is going to be fantastic. And then when you saw the film, you're like, oh, it's garbage. It's not anything that I'd hoped it would be. No, it was not. No. I blanked a lot of it out of my mind. For some reason, I keep thinking it was a musical, but it wasn't. But yeah, it was not good. It wasn't even one of those so bad it's good films. It was just bad. It was such a wasted potential. I was like, oh, you could. Oh. Because the trailers first came out, and you saw like the moon base, and you saw the dude on the motorbike pootling across the moon. And you're like, oh, there's so much awesomeness in this trailer. It's, evil Nazis and spaceships on the moon and secret. Oh, and no, they ruined it. They just destroyed the idea completely. K18. It was not redeemable. So Iron Sky 2, yeah, no. Do. Put that. I can't be asked. Put it over there. Put it over there. So let's have a look. What are we up to? I need to clean these little bits off. What's chat doing? Cynical Steve says it's terrible. Oh, okay. Beck Storm says it's a shame. I love the first one. Cynical Steve, oh, I still loved it, but it's terrible. Yeah, I probably didn't hate it quite as much as I said, but it was one of those like, oh, it's such a wasted opportunity. It's a bit like, for me, it was a bit like, if you remember many, many years ago, in the early days of the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, it's the wrong thing, I want the file. There was a game that was announced by Codemasters. And it was a World War II game. Bearing in mind that at the time, the games I was playing, I absolutely adored Halo, obviously, but I also adored Medal of Honor Frontline. This is 2003, 2005 and 6. I was still playing Medal of Honor Frontline from time to time. That was my favouriteest World War II first-person shooter of all. That Medal of Honor Frontline, loved it. Looking back on it now, it's terrible. But at the time, when we hadn't had all the Call of Duty, all the other games coming up. But anyway, this game got announced. And what was it called? No, there were two games that got announced. Hour of Victory, I think it was called. Or was it the same game? No. I think it was called Hour of Victory. And there was some game announced where the promotional photograph that appeared on GameSpot for about 6 months, about a year before it came out, was just a photograph from the White House with a big, red, white and black swastika flag over the front, like it had been captured by the Germans. And it had been occupied. And I was like, oh, potential. And they had this whole storyline. Yeah, it was Hour of Victory or something like that. This whole storyline where Churchill, apparently just before World War II at some point, had been hit by a taxi but didn't die. But in the game, Churchill got hit by a taxi in New York or in Washington and died. And it changed the course of the war. And the Germans, won and they invaded America. And it's like, oh, this sounds fantastic. Oh, this is going to be brilliant. This is going to be excellent. And it was the worst thing in the world. The demo came out and it was utter garbage. It looked terrible. It played terrible. The sound was terrible. Everything was rubbish. It was the worst thing ever. And it was by Codemasters, who had no experience, of course, of making first-person shooters. It was absolute, unabashed garbage. To the point that I was drawing a comic strip at the time. I actually did a comic strip about it. It was just like, oh, it was the worst thing ever. Hour of Victory, something like that. And again, that's like great potential. It just scratches that itch of, I love the kind of what if alternative history type stuff. I love that. It's brilliant. What if, the Germans won the war? What if this or that didn't happen? All these different kind of things. And I love things like that. But it tickled that, scratched that itch, and then it was just so unabashedly terrible at the end of it. It was truly bad. I mean, in those days there were often bad games. Dread versus Death, that was a bad game. But Hour of Victory, whatever it was called, that was beyond a bad game. That was just somebody had too many veers and vomited that up. It was, oh dear. Go and look it up. It's terrible. It's pretty much, this is never going to go in the hole. It's pretty much the, this has been a little feisty piece, this. It's the kind of game that was never destined to ever appear on the backwards compatible list, ever, of any of the consoles. Hour of Victory or something. It was something, I can't remember what it's called now. It was truly awful anyway. None of you know what I'm talking about, obviously. But it was truly awful. I even sent an email to Giant Bomb talking about it, and they read it, and it was GameSpot at the time. Was it Giant Bomb? No, it was GameSpot, I think. It might have been Giant Bomb. And they read it out anyway. This one needs to go here. That was one of those, like, such potential wasted. Truly wasted. It was in the days before World War II shooters got... How's that supposed to fit? Okay. Little crossbar here that goes in, but it's supposed to... It's sitting up like that from the surface. And it's supposed to. Cool. Yeah, those were the days of, you know, post Xbox, original Xbox, and early days of Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, post PS2, and those sort of, you know, 2006, 2007. There was some absolute garbage coming out in those days. I mean, before the 360 and PS3, you know, there were lots of limitations on game developers, so a lot of games were terrible. But after that, yeah. Half 5. Where's the time gone? Wow. Red Alert games have that sort of thing, wacky going back in time to change history stuff. Isn't that the one, or is it Command & Conquer, where Tim Curry goes, space? Is that Command & Conquer? I can't remember. Read Harry Turtle of alt history novels. Yeah, I love alt history stuff. Oh, Resistance. Yeah, I remember that game. Your Resistance in New York. I think it was not good. Oh yeah, no. There was also Hour of Victory, where at one point you were a commando, and then you were playing as somebody. You could play as one of 3 different people, and something. It might be a different game. Then there's 2 of them. I don't know. Half 5. Yup. Home time, says Model Maker Mayhem. Does that Falcon come with decals, Fox? Like, how's my driving one and the random modelers' names and number plates? Does it come with decals? It comes with all them decals. All of them. All of them. Let's have a look. You won't see this, but this one. Let's have a look and see. Oops. Some of these are identifiable. This one, you won't see these because I can zoom in a little bit, but probably not much. There's one here. There's like a little blue and coloured grid. If you look at the filming model or the filming studio prop of the Comlock from Space 1999, it's the same marking that they have on that. And if I remember rightly, it's a decal from a truck kit. We have a lot of these were like a logo that they split into little strips and you can't quite tell what they are. There's a few like rescue arrows, like little rescue things for fighter planes. There is one here that's the word Marines from a fighter plane, but they've cut the top and bottom off so you see the middle bit. What else have we got that I can identify? A lot of them you just can't quite pick. You know there's something, but you can't quite pick them out. There's a couple here that look like the the traditional World War II American aircraft star, but they've chopped off little bits. Lots more caution markings from planes and vehicles. We have one of the decals appears to be a water slide of a cockpit instrument panel that they just used in the real. This is probably goes on a plate somewhere on the outer hull, but it's, if you look at it, it's basically like the cockpit panel for an F-14 or something like that. Probably a Tamiya. There's another decal there which appears to be a instrument panel side piece, like you get like where the arms, where the, you know, from another cockpit of some sort. I wish you could get closer to see these, but I can't get any closer than they are. There's a few bits and bobs. If it was an X-Wing kit, I don't know if there's one on here, but on an X-Wing, on the Studio X-Wing, you see the Tamiya logo they cut in half, and it's on one of the engine cowlings. This one here actually says, drive safely, and then I can't read the rest without zooming in, without even better glasses. Drive safely, something, something, something. This is the one that goes at the back. They basically have reproduced all the markings on the studio model perfectly. To the point where they're basically reproducing decals from Tamiya kits and Airfix kits. There's lots of, like, you know, ejection seat decals. There's a Magneti Morelli decals there. Some spark plug markings. A lot of them were like truck and car kits, so you'll see a lot of like rally markings and truck markings. It's fantastic, but they've basically reproduced them in 1/72 scale. Can I see any others? Nothing else is jumping out at me. But yeah, if you get these decals, you zoom in close enough, you can see some of the amazing things. So they've been really, really faithful, and thankfully, they do give you both. They give you, if you use the clear parts, they do give you water slide decals to go over the clear parts for the canopy frames, but I suspect they probably wouldn't fit very well. And they do give you separate markings to replace those anyway if you don't use those. But yeah, lots and lots of decals. I will spend a long time doing the water slides. So there may be more live streams out of this yet. Because look at this. How many water slides? Every single one of these dots, if I can get it on screen, every single one of these dots is a water slide. And then every single one of those dots, and all those dots, and all those. Yeah. I like doing, thankfully I do enjoy doing water slides. It's quite relaxing. So yeah. Right, what's next? That's those bits on. Next we have, mark those off. What time are we on? 5:30. We'll get one more little set of bits done, I think. Probably call it quits for today. So the X sprue. X. I've ordered pizza, all the meats. Good choice. How's my driving? Isn't that Spaceballs? No, there really was a how's my driving type thing. Or was it keep you distant? Whatever it just said, I read it out then. There really was on the back of the Millennium Falcon model. I wonder if Bandai had to secure rights to reproduce the greebles and decals from other model companies. I don't know, actually, because I heard tell that not only did they obviously scan the filming model to get all the, you know, the detail and stuff, laser scan it, they also sourced the original parts that Lucasfilm used, that ILM used, and reproduced them in scale as well. So I don't know if they, I guess they'd have to, because you know, if you're reproducing a piece from a tank, like a Tamiya tank kit, I guess they're going to have to pay rights to copy that and then use it on the kit, I guess. I would have thought so. Unless they just kind of hoped they didn't need to, because they're reproducing part of, say, part of a Churchill tank rather than part of a Tamiya kit. And of course, you know, nobody has the right to, say, a Churchill tank or a Panzer IV or something. X34. 34. Oops. I don't know. Interesting question, actually. And especially for the markings as well. Like, I'm assuming they haven't literally just... They've kind of made their own versions of certain markings. So for markings, probably not, because the markings are for things like trucks and cars. And they're not Although things like, you can see like the Magneti Morelli and the Champion Spark Plugs logos on some of those markings, so I guess they'd have to get a license to reprint those, because you can see the logo. But where it's, say, half a Tamiya logo, or the, you know, rescue marking from a fighter plane, they're technically making a copy of the thing on the fighter plane, not a copy of somebody else's decals, because it's from a real world vehicle. So they'd probably get away with that one. Fascinating question, though. Good question, though. How many water slides? All the water slides. Don't know if the Diag has decals of stalled at issue 88 because it's getting unwieldy. I don't think it did it? I don't know. I don't remember anybody ever saying that the Diag had decals, which is a bit rubbish when you think about it. I mean, it'd be nice if it did. I mean, I got all the issues. I have now unfortunately sold it on, but I got all, although I never got past episode 6 and building the cockpit, I did get all the issues. Now, the interior of the cockpit were these like acetate pieces that you glued in place. You didn't have any decals for that because you didn't need any, but I don't know about exterior markings. I didn't open any of the packages that turned up after that cockpit part, so I never looked inside, so I don't actually know. Has anyone out there finished the Diag? Oh, no decals, says Chris. Well, that's just rubbish. How can they not give you the markings? Again, that's where you'd be depending on aftermarket decals, isn't it, really? I seem to remember there was someone, I think on Facebook somewhere, who tracked down, basically, all the markings on the Studio Falcon, because they were all from kits, they were all from, you know, the manufacturer's kits. Tracked down, identified all the markings and decals, and then cobbled together a sheet of them and made a set of decals for the Diag Falcon, I think. I could be wrong. Where does this go? This goes there. Okay. But they put a lot of effort into actually tracking down all the different markers, identifying them and reproducing them as best as they could. So I think there were like either third-party aftermarket or just private individuals making download things you can download so you can make your own. I think it was like an image you could download to make your own. You'd have to do a Google search. But you'd have to make your own decals if you did that, obviously. That'd be a do-it-yourself job. I will just put random decals, says Singles Deep. I thought about, because I did consider that if they don't get any, what am I going to do? And I thought, well, the thing is, I've got so many decals spare now from other kits, I could just put my own on. This needs to go there. Oh, don't... Oh, I'm getting pingage now. Getting frustrations, pingage. Frustrating. There we go. Get in, though. I'm doing this the wrong way around. I'm not even... There we go. Are we in? Are we in? Are we in? Yes. He shoots, he scores. Yes, I think there were... I think there's like some groups on Facebook specifically for the Diag Falcon. And I'm sure I remember seeing... Where's that part? Just there it is. I'm sure I remember seeing someone that cobbled together a file, an image file you can download and use to print your own decals. It was a high definition, high resolution thing. I think basically what he did was, because a lot of them were like existing brand logos and stuff, for some of them he literally went and found those companies' logos and just resized them all to the right size. It's an incredible piece of work. But I'm sure there's third-party ones out there. Right, so that is that done. So we've done literally that and that. Now we've got to do that and that and that and that and that, and then at the very end, done. Yay! So I don't think we'll be doing any more of that today. I might possibly do another one of these streams then, because we've got a lot more little tiny fiddly parts to do. I might possibly do one more of these streams. I wasn't planning on it, but seeing as we've got so much left, might be worth it. If not, I'll just get it done and carried on, and then the next thing you'll see, if I just crack on with it and don't bother streaming it, then the next thing you'll see will be a painting episode, because we'll crack on with the painting. But I shall have a think about it, and we'll see what we do. Quick last look at chat. Who's Chet? I don't know who Chet is. People talking about things. Okay, I've not missed any chat. Model Maker Mayhem. Mental note: don't chuck the phone around on the car when trying to fix it to the clamp on the dashboard. Clamp. Ian Thompson says, just don't scratch build after a few drinks. Yes. Cynical Steve says, ironically, once the Falcon is built, it'll have more room in the spare room. It was in 3 large storage tubs that take up a whole wall. Mine was actually all stored in half a wardrobe. It was full of Millennium Falcon. And when I sold it to my friend, it was like 3 large plastic tubs plus several bin bags. I filled up the entire back of the living room just with the stuff before I took it round to his house. Yes, please do the live stream. Have a good contemplation. I shall contemplate bigly. I think we probably will, because it's just sticking on little bits now. There's nothing too complicated now. It's just all these little bits and bobs I need to put on. But I'm not going to put the goose feathers on the back, because like I said, I need to get everything painted and the decals on there before I put the goose feathers on, because they need to go on top. So that will be some careful attaching later on. And what I might do... I was debating whether to seal these in with something, but I don't think I need to. This will get a coat of primer, I think, anyway. Oh yeah, what I was going to do. I won't put it on permanently, but remember this bit? Every time I turn this over, all I can smell is the kicker. This will go over the top like that. Will go over the top, if I can coordinate my movements. And what you'll see when you look underneath is pretty much nothing. You won't see now. So what I plan to do, there's no point painting them black, because it'll just be black, and then you put black paint over this and you weather it anyway, so it's not going to work. So what I will be doing is, to make it stand out a bit, I will be in fact painting these probably a silver colour and then adding some weathering to it, so it's just a bit visible through here. Now I'm not going to attach this now, because I need to paint these and give all this the whole colour, and if I put this in place and lock it in place, all I'm going to do is paint that whole colour. So this will go on at the end. Once this has been painted, I'll paint that separately, so that'll have like a nice weathered metal look. So at least you can maybe see some of it through there, a little bit. Did I bend that? No, I thought I might have bent it a little bit, but it's fine. Everything is fine. Right, I think that's going to do us. So I'm going to call it a show there. I may well do another one of these. It's probably going to be later next week though, because I've got obviously I'm going to the dentist tomorrow, so I've no idea what state I'm going to be in for the next few days. If you watch my content, by the way, I don't know what will happen with my streams this weekend, because again, I don't know what state I'll be in. So stay tuned. But yes, I will get James Mate to post up on the Facebooks for the next one of these. It'll be sometime next week, but I don't know exactly what day. I've got to think about other people's streams as well. I'm limited on who's streaming when, so I could just go ahead and stream it regardless, but I'm not like that. But we will more than certainly do another one of these then to get these details. But I am keen to get this done, and so we might not. If I just sit here and think, if I don't want to sit here and not do this for another week and wait another week, I might just get it done. Because I need to get this done and finished and painted and off to the guys at eModels. I want to get it done and finished. Other things I need to get on with. So we'll see. It's not guaranteed. I might do one, but I'd have to wait a week, so I might not. We'll see. Anyway, don't forget, of course, this show is on the eModels channel, and I'm making this for eModels.co.uk. The address is there, up there in the corner. eModels.co.uk. Your one-stop shop for all your model making needs. I have to say, no, I won't say that actually, because it would be cruel. I'm not going to say that. I was going to say something, but I won't, because it's cruel to someone. You'll never know what it was. But yeah, don't forget, if you need to pick anything up, go and have a look. If you want to get this kit or any of the stuff I've used, anything at all, go and check them out. Everything you need, they will have. If you can't find something, then basically there's probably something better they have in stock, or it might just be temporarily out of stock. So if you can't find something you specifically need, have a look and see if there's an alternative. If there isn't, and there's something you really want and it's not there, then it may just be out of stock. Drop the guys an email. You can use the contact form on the website. Don't mail this email address. I should take that off really. Don't use that email address, because that's me and Ted. We don't work for eModels, so we can't help you. That's just for the Monday night show. I should take that off. Yes, use the contact form on the website, fill it out, say, hey guys, I'm looking for X. Can you tell me when it's going to be back in stock or if you're going to get it? They'll either tell you when it's back in stock, because they restock stuff fairly quickly, or if it's something they don't carry, they may well be able to just get it for you anyway, because they've got ties with all the major distributors. If it's something they don't normally sell, they can probably get it from one of their distributors anyway. So just let them know. Let them know you're looking for something. And if you're wanting to get, say, one of these kits, one of the Falcons, give them a shout. At least then they know somebody's waiting for them. They can try and get them faster for you. They may be getting one in, like, say, 6 months, but if you know there's like 10 people waiting for it, they can probably try and get some faster from elsewhere. So do give them a shout and let them know if there's something you want. But go and check them out. eModels.co.uk. Anyway, that's going to do us. So thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourselves. Go to eModels. Spend lots of money. Always do. It's always the best thing to do. And I shall see you. Cynical Steve says, did you know those fans were actually fans on the studio miniatures? As there were so many lights, it would melt. So they put fans everywhere. They could keep the models cool. Yes, because I told everybody that at the start of the show when you weren't here. It's good knowledge to know. But I said all that at the start. I just thought I'd read all that out first. Yes, we've done that bit. People wishing me good luck at the dentist. Thank you very much. I'm sure it'll be fine. It'll be less painful than when I broke my toe anyway, that's for sure. Anyway, take care of yourselves. I've got to press some buttons. Go make something awesome, of course, like this or anything similar. Go be awesome. And until next time, I shall say, thank you very much for watching. Stay safe, be safe, wash your damn hands. Adios, amoebas.